Sometimes I'd like to be alone in my own mind. I feel at home within these walls. I fear my own absence of association.
Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new season of the World GT Championship here on the iRacing Esports Network. Season number 8, meeting 1, and we're here at the home of British Motorsport, Silverstone. It's the old Silverstone here on Racebot TV. And what a magnificent venue to start this championship off here. There's the track information: 28 degrees track temperature, 21 degrees air temperature, partly cloudy skies. There's 3.1 mile layout, and it's the historic layout as well, so you get to see them blasting flat out through Abbey in towards Bridge Corner. Well, my name is Paul Smith, and alongside me on commentary here today is none other than Chaz Draycott. And, well, Chaz, brand new season of this championship here, season 8. You've raced most of the World GT Championship history. Just talk us through what makes this championship so good.
The thing is with this one, Paul, good evening everybody by the way as well, great to be here. The fact that there's sprint races and endurance races in this championship, and it was mainly focused around sprint racing. Obviously the usual things you see in GT3 cars like we saw on the weekend, and of course the GT World Challenge Europe, is longer races, usually 1 hour minimum, 3 hours, and obviously 24 hours like the 24 hours of Spa. But condensing these cars and the speeds of these things with as many drivers as we've got into 20-minute sprint races is just absolutely epic, and it makes things so much more frantic while still being able to enjoy the absolute beauty that is GT3 machinery. You know, big wings, big splitters, and aero everywhere, and massive arches, and it's just fantastic. So it really does set itself apart, and to be honest, there's a really good community behind the series as well, and it's been like that since the very get-go as well. I've been in it since season 2 and all the way up until last season, season 7. So I reckon this one, it just builds up and builds up each year, and this is going to be even better this time.
So just to explain to everybody, if you are brand new to this championship, it is GT3 machinery that we are going to be using here, and these drivers have got a mixture of sprint and endurance races. We'll bring up the schedule for this season. Then, as I say, we're starting off here at Silverstone Historic on the historic Grand Prix layout. This is going to be sprint races. We head on to Sebring next time around, and then it's Road Atlanta, Monza, Daytona Road at night. That is going to be at Nürburgring, Motegi, Spa-Francorchamps, Imola, Barcelona as well. That's going to be interesting racing there. Circuit de la Sarthe towards the end of the season, and the final round of the championship is going to be sprint races at Indianapolis. Is there anything there, Chaz, that really sort of stands out to you in terms of the events?
Sebring. This championship has always gone well at Sebring. There's always been exciting race meetings there. I've been part of many of them, and to be honest, if they do what they did last time out, where they had the race going into the night, it'll look fantastic, and of course it'll get more and more challenging for them. Each of the enduro races, as you can see at the bottom there, 1 hour 45 minutes. It's a bit of an unorthodox time frame for a lot of these sorts of races compared to what people are used to in endurance, but it means that there is actually a lot of strategy involved. You get 2 mandatory pit stops as well, so you have to really think about when you're going to come in, if you're going to take short fuel early on and try and get out in clean air. And it really, it throws it up in the air from people that are used to just getting in a sprint race and just going for it for 20 minutes.
Absolutely. So, as you can see there's the format of this series then. We've got the 8 sprint events. So each sprint event has 3 20-minute races, with races 2 and 3. They have inverted grids. You'll see how we decide those after race number 1 here. And then 4 endurance races. Each event is a single race. 4 hours. It's 4 hours. We'd be here all night if that was the case. 1 hour and 45 minutes long, and there are mandatory pit stops in that event as well, Chaz. So you get that real mix here, don't you, of those that are used to sprint-style racing, and then you've got those that are really good, well-suited to the endurance races.
Yeah, that's it. The drivers have to have their wits about them and really think about their different approach into each meeting. And of course, with the sprint races that we're going to see this evening as well, 3 races for them, so they've got to get it all done in qualifying, which is going on now, of course, in the background. Then, dependent on if they have a bad race 1, they'll be right at the back for race 2 if they don't get, obviously, benefits of the reverse grid. And then again in race 3 as well, if you have a bad race 2, it can really knock you down. And it's all about seeing how these drivers react to that first race and then how they build on it from there. We've seen it in the past where people have had a sort of mediocre race 1 and they've not done too well, but the reverse grid has put them right up there for races 2 and 3, and they've bagged so many points from it. And I think that's the very important thing. You need to keep a level head, and the endurance races are definitely an example of that as well, because of the longer distance they have to do. They don't get another chance with the reverse grid as well. You have to really be on it and have your wits about you. So I think that it really tests the mettle and the versatility of these drivers.
Absolutely. Just to let you know, as we mentioned, qualifying is ongoing at the moment. We'll get you the results of those once that is completed. But I want to touch on, we've got 2 returning champions here, because it is 5 championships that are being fought out here in this series. So you've got the pro category of drivers, you've got the pro-am drivers category, and also the amateur driver category, and then the team championship as well. It's not just an individual championship here, there's a team championship as well. It's the pro teams and the pro-am teams. But we have got 2 returning champions in your drivers. Pete Harrod is one of those from last season. He was the overall winner and also the pro champion.
Yeah, Pete, a good friend of mine as well, lives very locally to me. I could probably hear him screaming from here when he won it. I was actually spectating at the time because I was an idiot and crashed out of the final race of the season, so I managed to get to watch Pete cross the line and take the championship. He's actually running the number 1 on the car this season as well, which I'm very, very happy about. And he usually runs the number 21, so I was quite pleased to see him taking that. And it's a bit of mind games to the people that are against him, because you're wearing that number 1, it's a bit of a target on your back, but at the same time it's sort of, I am the number 1 and I'm the one you want to aim for. And of course as well, we had Mike Horder win the Pro-Am category last season as well on his debut in the series. He did a great job in his Mercedes. Just interestingly on that note as well, no Mercedes here this season, Paul. And I mean, you remember my reaction when I noticed that beforehand. It was mad.
Yeah, we've got a combination of Ferraris, BMW Z4s, also the McLaren as well. That's making quite a comeback here in this championship. But no Mercedes and no Ford GT. What's that going on? What's that all about?
Well, Dennis Melchuk usually drives the Ford GT for a laugh, but he's not in it this season, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately Dennis is unable to compete in this championship. It would have been great to have seen him out there in the World GTC medical car as he was last season with that paint scheme. He didn't expect to do well last season, but he did actually impress a few people in that Ford GT.
Oh yeah, he knows his way around that car, and I remember he famously won a race at Monza a couple of seasons ago in it. And there wasn't one person on the grid that didn't congratulate him, because honestly, they were so pleased for him, and everyone was just very happy to see that GT up there. And I know that Ashley Blake Hudden's in the chat now as well, I've just noticed. He's a massive fan of Dennis and his Ford GT ventures as well, so I'm sure that he was involved in the congratulations. But there is still a good variation of the cars out there. Of course, we get to see the BMW Z4 GT3s, which I don't know about you, Paul, but I'm a humongous fan of, because I think if you compare the road car compared to the GT3 car, I think that the Z4 is definitely the biggest improvement on all of them because of the humongous arches, massive wings and huge splitters, and it just complements that shape so well. But the road car, it's safe to say, is terrible.
Yes, it is terrible, that's for sure. We've got about a minute and a half remaining of qualifying. Just to let you know how qualifying works in this championship, we have got it split into 3 10-minute sessions. You have got the amateurs go out first at the start of qualifying. They have 10 minutes to set their qualifying times. Then the pro-ams head on out for their qualifying session. Again, another 10 minutes. And then finally, the pro drivers, although the champion is in there, they go out then for the end of qualifying here. And yeah, that's it's a new style of qualifying for this season, because previously it was just everybody for themselves, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember the past few seasons with qualifying. I mean, the quality of the grid just keeps getting better and better. I mean, we've got Moreno, Sirica, Josh Thompson and Alex Arana at the top at the moment. I mean, Alex Arana's got over 9,000 I rating. Josh Thompson and Moreno, between the two of them, have got over 14k I rating combined. And the numbers are just scary all the way down the order as well. I mean, there's so many with 4,000 or 5,000. Anwar Beryl Smith as well is back in the series. Great to see Anwar as well. Big fan of his, I am. But yeah, the sort of nature of it previously, I mean, there's a lot of newer guys in the series as well that quite aren't on the pace with some of the pro drivers. But to be honest, the qualifying sessions in the last few seasons have been entertaining, I think is the best way to put it. And you really have to be alert, checking your mirrors, making sure that people have left enough space so they don't get held up. But yeah, as BHM's just said in the YouTube chat, no Mercedes this season. That's a huge surprise, because usually the Mercedes is the best all-rounder of these cars as well. But it seems that a recent nerf, as we like to call it, has done it a bit of a mischief, to be honest. So we have the beautiful Ferraris out there a lot. There's a lot of McLarens as well, and the Z4 and the Audi. And it's quite interesting, really, because last season it was a similar scenario with the Ferraris, wasn't it, Paul? There was only like one, I think, actually 3 on the grid, I think there was last season, out of like 60 cars.
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't really the most popular car out there. If you do want to keep up to date with everything that's going on throughout these races, then check out the link that's just gone in chat. It's racespot.tv/timing2. That's the number 2 at the end there. racespot.tv/timing2. You can keep up to date with everything that's going on in these 3 races. As we mentioned, at the end of this first race, there will be an inverted grid. We'll discuss that when we go to do the draw. You will see the draw on screen happen live. No shenanigans, no accusations of having cold or hot balls in a bowl or anything like that. It's all going to be on screen, so you'll be able to see that. And yeah, it's almost go time here, Chaz. And well, this is certainly going to be an intriguing start to the season. New drivers, as you mentioned, in this series, and we're going to be getting getting their first experience of doing a sprint race in these GT3s.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a different arena to what some of them are used to. The pro qualifying has just concluded, and of course, as the track develops over the course of the session, they may get worse conditions or better conditions. Obviously, as the track gets rubbered in, the grip could either go away or come to them, depending on the temperature combination with it. And I think that over the course of the season, as the guys get used to it, it's going to be very interesting to see how they all get on. We've got a couple of pro-ams just mixing it with the pros in there as well. In terms of the AMs as well, we've got a couple of those guys just poking their noses in amongst some of the pro-am drivers. So all 3 classes mixing it up a little bit in here, and I'm quite intrigued to see how much that changes over the course of the season. These guys, they're usually really hot on having sort of classification changes as the season goes on, just to make sure that nobody's really sort of losing out or anything. They want to make sure that the racing is still close in those classes and no one runs away with it.
Well, let's take a look at this grid then. It is Marina Sarica, pole position for Williams Esport. Second place, Josh Thompson. So Williams Esport really strong at the start of this season. Ross McFarlane, Alex Arana, third and fourth on the grid. Michael Avdurka, George McClay then, the next two with Pete Harrod and Paulo Munoz. That's row number 4. Row number 5, Andy Scheel and Adam Watson. Pro and Pro-Am, Ben Palmer and Carl Moore. Row number 6. Row 7 is Mohammed Janko with Ammar Burrell-Smith, Matt Bunn and Harold Stadler, rounding down to 16th place. Lewis Bibby, Daniel Lee with Pete Newman and Bradley Burns down on row number 10. Row 11, Alex Neller with Jake Blackhall, Cameron Dance and Mike Horder on row number 12. Row 13, Michael Gray and Christian Rose with Steve McCaffrey and Simon Underhill for Nomad Sim Racing. Max Bird and Lars van Rijn for Boosted Sim Sport. Chris Wood and Simon Field 31st, 32nd. We're still going with this grid here. Ben Gregory and Mark Woodhouse. Oh, that's a bit of a tasty row of the grid right there. Those two. Adam Hedgecock and Tom Jacobs, the next two, down in 36th. 37th, Adam Nally with Ethan Bass, 38th. Tony Draper and Dean Powell down in 40th. 41st for Steve Burke with Kieran Chung in 42nd. James Whitehouse and Nathan Dixon to 44th. 45th, Morgan Butler with Chris Byram. Matthias Van Delden in 47th ahead. Matthias Van Delden and Sean Gardner, 48th. 49th, Michael Blake with John Roberts. 50th, 51st is David Nichols with Matt Draycott in 52nd. Yes, he is a relation to Chaz in the commentary box. Two more drivers on the grid is Gavin Baker and Niall Crowther. That rounds out your 54 car grid. And while the drivers are getting underway here, final thoughts then here, Chaz, from yourself.
Well, the Williams Esports guys making their mark on this championship straight away here in those BMW Z4s. You can see the whole pack now just gradually making their way round. A lot of McLarens in there, which is nice to see. And to be honest, just looking at the liveries that we've been seeing in practice, they have been absolutely stunning compared to some of the previous seasons. We've had a bit of a mix of livery quality over the seasons, let me tell you. But this season, especially with the added spec maps as well, which people have been getting used to since Season 7, cars look absolutely brilliant. A bit disappointed though, the only car in this field that I've painted seems to be struggling at the moment. Team Lizard Boys further down the pack, just outside the top 40, but you never know. Survival of the fittest is key around here, and in these sprint races everyone is so eager to just get on with it and make as many places as they can early on. You could see some incidents, and as long as you avoid them, you might do okay, to be honest. Just a bit further down the order on the right hand side of your screen there, you can see there's a car with a split livery that is solid white one side and chrome blue on the other. Now I cannot remember the driver's exact name. He's got a teammate further back in the pack as well, but he keeps actually posting in the World GT group that I'm in as well pictures of that car, and it looks absolutely stunning. I mean, anyone that knows me will know that I'm a huge fan of a split livery, and those guys have pulled it off very well. But again, just comes back to how pretty this grid is, Paul. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, absolutely. These drivers coming around, and you'll see them cut through on the historic layout here, so not the hard braking point into Vale and then Club Corner. So we're going to be seeing them flying into Club Corner here. This has always been a tricky corner as well as Club, because you've got the different lines that you can take through there, but you need to carry the speed out of here to then get yourself through Abbey flat out, because again, it's not the chicane we're using just the left-hander.
Yeah, it's a tricky part of the circuit, like you say, on a normal day. But around here on the historic layout as well, there's so much more speed carried through there. You really need to have the car planted, and the weight transfer as well as you go through into Club Corner. It's just crazy because you're chucking the car so fast left and then trying to get it slowed down just a little bit to make sure you make the apex through the right-hander. If the back end steps away from you, it's not actually, at the speed you're doing anyway, it's not that far until you're going to hit something if you run too wide. So I think we're going to see a couple of guys taking advantage of their opportunities down there if someone makes a mistake in front of them. The three Williams Esports cars at the front that you can see are all different colours as well. We've got a white one, a black one and a purple one, all looking wonderful. But the race and the season is about to get underway, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely. So Sarika just backing these drivers up then, waiting for the pace car to pull over to the right-hand side into pit road, and then he will be in charge. There it goes, across the grass. Sarika now waiting. He's waiting. Now he's going to go. The three Williams cars get the jump on everyone else. They're in communication with each other, and Season 8 of the World GT Championship is underway. Down towards Copse Corner for the first time. Got three wide further back. Can everyone make it through Copse for the first time? No, we've got an incident further back. One of those is going to be Dixon and Stadler as well. We'll keep with this field though as they snake their way through through Beckett's either, should I say. Brooklands is later in the lap. Round they go into Chapel and down the hanger straight for the first time. The majority of the field getting away well. David Nichols has had to take a tour back to the pits here. Stadler was involved, Pete Newman was involved as well.
Yeah, it's a shame to see a couple of the guys not even make it a corner of the season without an incident, but we've got such a big pack and everyone that's so eager. It was bound to happen. Third place at the moment, we have Alex Arana in the purple Williams Esports machine. He's having to defend like mad from Ross McFarlane. Now, Ross McFarlane and the Pure Sims boys have really put a great team together for this season. And obviously Josh Thompson there in second place in the matte black Williams Esports car. Oh, as the number 25 machine is off the circuit there, that's Bradley Burns. Just dropping down the order after a bit of an incident there. And oh, there's more cars off around him there. There's Audis and McLarens. It's like a poor dealership there. I think that's Simon Underhill as well in the Nomad Audi. And then Kieran Chung in the Audi as well, the Paceworks Esports car. Tony
Draper is in there as well. We've got more incidents. Oh, big incident for James Whitehouse. He's taken the tour back to the pits for him. Matt Draycott was involved in that one, so too was Michael Blake, Sean Gardner as well. So multiple accidents on lap one here. Out at the front then, it's Sarika, Thompson. Ross McFarlane has been able to get himself alongside Arana. Alex Arana, Ross McFarlane, side by side. Oh, and Arana very, very close, but able to hold on to that position.
Yeah, it looked like that White House incident earlier, he actually he lost control and made tiny contact with Dean Powell, and then he just got collected by Michael Blake and Matt Draycott, so the two of them just unable to avoid the incident in the end. But we've got a great battle going on up here at the front, and these boys are starting how they want to continue, I'm sure. Great to watch already, and to be honest, this is what I was saying earlier about the sprint format. These guys want to take every single corner as an overtaking opportunity. Ross McFarlane wrestling this Ferrari around at the moment. It's great to see the Ferrari back being competitive again, because it had such a nerf last season. It was a shame not to see them on the grid, but we've got 3 BMWs and then 3 Ferraris at the front of the pack, and what a brilliant pack of cars it is as well. The highest McLaren is Pete Harrod, reigning champion, in 7th place just at the back of this. Look at the speed that McFarlane's carrying through there. He can't quite get it done. This is Alex Arana, 9,000 I rating that he's up against. Alex knows all the tricks, but at the end of the day, Ross is putting on a hell of a performance now, and he's got Michael Avdoka. They may not be direct teammates, but he's got his stable mate behind. And look at this train, Paul. This is brilliant stuff.
Arana is holding these guys up. He's allowing his teammates of Sarika and Thompson to pull away. 2.8 seconds is the gap between Arana and his teammates at the front. But this queue of traffic here is absolutely sensational. Look at it, snaking through here. Absolutely incredible to see here. This is the action that you get here in the World GT Championship. Through Maggots into Beckett once again. Arana holding on to that position for the time being. Adam Watson is involved in this as well. He's the highest placed Pro-Am, and he's doing well because he's got Mohamed Janko in 14th. He's tagging onto the back of this queue as well, so the Pro-Ams mixed it in with these Pro boys at the front.
Yeah, it's always good to see that as well. It just shows the pace of some of these guys in that Pro-Am class. The car just ahead of him there, Ben Palmer, just showing his nose down the inside of Andy Shield. His teammate, sorry, Andy's actually got ahead. Or has he? Has he got ahead? There's one of the BMWs in front of him.
Shield.
It is Shield. Yes, it was. I'm so used to seeing Andy in a McLaren and Ben in a McLaren as well that I thought Andy had made his way through ahead. But yeah, it's Ben there in 9th position. And these guys, I tell you what, they love a good hack, those pair, so they've done plenty of racing against each other. One of the Ferraris in the background there going very, very wide. I think that was Paulo Munoz 13th position. But these guys are pushing so hard around here. The McLaren breathing fire once again, as it always does. We know and love that by now, don't we? But Ryan Walker's dubbed Alex Arana as Trulli Train Arana. This is Max Bird, car 44 in position 22 at the moment. Just behind him is Chris Wood, the Pro-Am. Max Bird is actually the highest Am at the moment and doing a great job as well, Paul, as we said before, mixing it in with the class above. Yeah,
absolutely. So you can see how these drivers are all just in this queue of traffic, and we're going to have to look forward to Ross McFarlane. He was getting pretty close, not making the move for the time being. 0.3 of a second between them. Fastest lap of the race, by the way, going to Moreno Sarica at the front. He's got a clear sky, and therefore clear sky. He's got a clear track in front of him. I'm doing about 3 different things at once here. So these drivers are working their way through down the Hanger Straight again. So it's Arana and McFarlane together again. Evdoka right behind him with McClay in 6th place. Pete Harrod, defending champion, 7th, and he's got the attention of Andy Shield behind him. Adam Watson looking actually losing a place to Carl Moore. So the Pro-Am losing the spot to Carl Moore, down to 11th place for Adam.
Yeah, Carl was one of those drivers that was showing a lot of pace last season, but he just didn't have the results to back it up. He got caught up in quite a lot of incidents, and unfortunately he didn't quite get the points he deserved from it, to be honest. Just behind him though, that is Lewis Bibby in the 313 Ferrari Texsense Fitstime Motorsport car. They have 2 teams out there in this series, I should say. Texsense Fitstime Motorsport, the blue ones, and then Renvale Fitstime Motorsport, which are the red ones. They've all got very similar liveries, just different logos on the side. And they like their uniform, let me tell you that. They're very proud of their liveries and they do look good. But so does that Audi at the moment. But to be honest, Lewis Bibby really putting the pressure on as things stand. And to be honest with you on this one, Paul, there's so many great names all the way down this field. It really shows you the class of it. Matt Bunn's actually dropped down to 52nd place, unfortunately. But there's so many names that I've seen in many leagues on iRacing with these lot. They've got such a great, close-knit community that I just can't believe the quality of the grid we've got. I mean, there's people like Simon Underhill, of course, after that incident down in 39th, but I mean, he's still ahead of people like John Roberts. I mean, Michael Blake's in 45th after his incident as well. But Adam Hedgecock down in 36th place. I mean, we both know from previous seasons that Adam is very quick. And it just shows you how hard it is just to gain those extra tenths and get up the field, as Bibby now is actually coming under pressure from Paulo Munoz.
Yeah, Munoz then trying to make the move. Looking to the inside of Sturr. You can make that move stick, and meanwhile Bibby was looking as well for his own. Behind them, Anwar Burrell Smith, and also Mohamed Janko battling out for 15th place as well. So there's battles all the way through the field. We're trying to show everything that we can here, but this is the beauty of this series. You get action everywhere throughout this field, and as they head on through to Abbey, you can see Burrell Smith just with a little bit of damage on that rear wing that will be affecting his top speed as he goes along. Oh, there's a car off into the gravel. That was Munoz then. Munoz, what on earth has happened to him there?
Maybe try to move, maybe a little bit of contact. You never know, really. I'll have a quick look back for you and see what the situation was, and I'll get back to you on that one. So let's have a gander, shall we? Here we go then. Yep. Going through into the infamous bridge corner, which we all know and love. Does he have to check up because of something in front? Oh, he's just gone wide. He's just lost it a little bit on the brakes. It's easy to do, to be fair. If you've got the brake bias quite far back to try and get the thing stopped better in a straight line, you've really got to think about it when you're going into a corner, and that's a real shame, that. And to be honest, it's a good thing that iRacing at the moment doesn't simulate grass going into your radiator, because that would have been a nightmare. But as a lot of you would have seen, iRacing have actually announced 3D grass as of this week, which is a very interesting feature, to be fair, that I'm surprised we hadn't thought of before, to be honest.
Yeah, bye-bye my GPU. As we head on down the Hanger Straight once again. Alex Neller then up to 16th, going to be putting pressure on Mohamed Janko in front of him. Oh, and I could tell you, further up as well, we've got side-by-side action, Harrod and Shield, and it's Shield who's made his way past Harrod at Stowe Corner in that BMW. The BMW does seem to handle the corners and the high-speed corners a lot better than that McLaren. and it does have a little bit of a deficit on the straights, but around those corners, that BMW is absolutely imperious.
Yeah, it really is. And it's great to see the McLarens and the Beamers fighting again, to be honest. They sort of take advantage of the fact that in the sim racing world we can use older track layouts and older cars that you don't quite see anymore in the real world of racing, but very grateful to be on board with this car now. Ben Palmer, of course, another real-life racing driver in the Mini Challenge UK and the Michelin Clio Cup UK as well. He's chasing down one of his teammates. Oh, we've had an off there for Simon Field. That's a boosted Motorsport McLaren. Very pretty livery on that as well. Looks like he was just recovering from the gravel. Let's have a quick look here then. Number 52 car who's chasing down one of the Paceworks Esports cars as well through bridge. Looks like he tapped the grass a little bit.
No.
Oh, it just gets out of shape. That's a scary moment, that, isn't it, Paul? Oh, a bit of a jump as well.
Oh, watch you rejoin there, Simon. Oh, and he caused one of those drivers then, the driver that he was battling with, to lose positions there. So that's hardly ideal.
Really good dodge, though, to be fair, wasn't it, by the Audi?
Great reaction from the Audi driver, yeah, absolutely. And, well, look at your top Pro-Am then, coming under pressure from Lewis Bibby, who still can't make his way past. Or is this the opportunity on Adam Watson then? Down the inside for Bibby, and Watson drops down one position, and now Cameron Dance is going to be the next driver to try and make a move. So the two TechSense Fitstyle Motorsports cars trying to work together and trying to work their way past the Pro-Am driver, but as I say, Watson is your top Pro-Am. Max Bird in 20th is still your top Am driver. The second place Am driver, you've got to go all the way down to 28th with Chris Byron.
Yeah, it's quite crazy really that the field can spread out in terms of a class that much, but it just shows the pace, you know, once someone has a good race and gets going.
Palmer's had an issue.
Oh yeah, he has dropped down actually, hasn't he?
Carl Moore's made his way past.
Not often that Ben gets overtaken, to be honest. He certainly knows how to defend. We'll have a look at it now then. This is on board with Carl in the fantastic sounding BMW. Into the left-hander then. Oh, Ben looks like he's just getting out of shape. Only just though, and to be fair, that's really opportunistic stuff by Carl there. Down the inside, just makes it stick. Ben makes sure that it only gives him all the room that he needs there and nothing extra.
Yeah, back to live pictures then. So Carl Moore up into 8th place. Ben Palmer down to 9th. The leader is still Marina Sarica at the front, 4.7 seconds ahead of Alex Arana. What on earth has happened to Josh Thompson? I saw he was having some connection problems, and he has. He's dropped out the server.
He's completely gone.
He's had connection problems, and that's dropped him out the race. So one of those Williams Esports cars out then for them. That won't help them at the start of this championship, but they still have two at the front, first and second, Sarica and Arana, with Ross McFarlane in third, with Michael Avdoka fourth, George McClay in that 5th place, and a little bit of a gap to Andy Shield, Pete Harrod, and this battle here. Carl Moore is actually all over the back of Pete Harrod, and he's got Ben Palmer with him. So two of the different Pure Sim drivers, or teams should I say, sandwiching Carl Moore here. And that Pace Works Esports Cobalt car holding different lines there, but that BMW, as I say, is really good through the corners.
Yeah, it just looks planted, doesn't it? It's always one of those cars that just really seems stuck to the road when you judge its body language and just see how well it does stick. Mid-corner speed as well is really good in that BMW, but depending on the setup, some of these guys like to try and drive it loose, obviously having the engine at the front end. It's a heavy old nose on that car, unlike the McLaren. Oh, one of the Ferraris there in the background. He's off and he's in the wall. There was actually two of them.
We'll get a replay of this then.
Yeah,
it's Lewis Bibby.
Oh no, Lewis.
So Lewis Bibby, I don't know who the other car was involved in that one, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know how they got involved there. It might have been, just have a look. Tom Jacobs has gone past him, so it wasn't Tom, it was a red Ferrari, I know that
it was.
Let's have a look. So he's just gone wide into the corner. And
there's
then,
a car out there.
Yeah, he's already off the track, and then
he's tried to avoid that car and ended up going into the wall.
Still not sure who that was, though, that was on the outside there. It looked like it might have been one of the Knight Rider Designs cars, but it's certainly one of the lucky Knight Rider Designs car. Here is one of them a bit further down the order now. This is Max Bird. I say further down the order, he's 19th to be fair, isn't he? And that's not even the midpoint of the pack, but we've got such a humongous field of cars. And on the right hand side where I've got my timing screen, there's just plenty of information. I don't know where to look, and never mind when we're actually looking at pictures. This is Nathan Dixon at the moment in the SCC Racing car. Very garish livery on their car this season. They've gone for some very, very bright colours and tried to combine anything they could.
We've got a couple of incidents. We've got Cameron Dance off in the gravel. Separate to that, we've also got Jake Blackhall off as well. So we'll try and get a look at this then.
I think Mike Gray was off as well there in that one.
Alex Neller was off as well. So Cam Dance taking too much speed into the corner. Yeah, he's ended off the track there spinning round. We've got Alex Neller. He's taken a bit of a trip across the grass as well.
Looks like damage on that car as well there.
Yeah.
He's got a big hit in front left.
Yeah, so obviously something has happened to him. And he's having to head down to pit road, get repairs done to that car. But at the front, Marino Sarica has pulled out an absolute margin, 5 seconds. We've got 4 minutes remaining of this race here, Chaz. This is unbelievable. And
it's crazy how fast they go.
Yeah, this is the battle for second place. Arana and McFarlane, these two battling out for second. And I can tell you, actually further down, Max Bird has gotten to the back of Paulo Munoz here, and he's also got Anwar Burrell-Smith right behind him as well. So the AM with 2 pro drivers around him. So Max Bird doing a sensational job.
Yeah, he had, I mean, I'm sure he won't mind me saying, he had a bit of a baptism of fire coming into the World GT Championship last season. He got involved in a lot of incidents just as he got used to iRacing and how the Ferrari handled. But with the Pure Sims boys, he's had a really, really good amount of training and work with them. Of course, he races in real life as well. He races in the Mini Challenge UK, but we've seen it before. You know, real drivers do sometimes struggle to get used to how the sim feels. They've not got the car feeling through their backside. But Max has done a great job, and to be honest, it's a hell of a turnaround from when I first saw him racing in iRacing. So great to see the development there. But Anwar Burrell-Smith, someone that we've known in the iRacing community a long time. That's one of the Nomad cars. That's Matisse van Delden, with a very lightweight front end on that Ferrari, and he's pulling that over. Let's have a replay of what's happened to him. This is going into bridge. This is feisty stuff. I believe that is one of the Renville cars. That's Harold Stadler, the number 39 machine. He's got one of the Team Lizard cars in front. That's going to be Steve Burke. Through bridge. Is he just going to clip the grass? Yep, that's how easy it is. Oh, that's a big hit. That's a Trulli-like accident, if anyone remembers that one years and years ago.
We're going to stay on the replay. We are going to stay on the replay because Max Bird has had an incident. No. So we're going to see where this is then. So he was your AM leader. He's not anymore. Through Copse Corner onto that AstroTurf. He's then tried to rejoin across the grass. He's lost control heavily into the concrete wall. And that is concrete there at that point. Big, big drama for the man who was your AM leader. And in fact, he's pulled over. He's out of this race. He's getting out of people's way. He's not having any of it at all. He's struggling. So that means that Chris Byram now is the head of your AM category here. Apologies that we haven't been able to show everything that's been happening here. But with a minute and 3/4 remaining on this one, we'll try to give you everything that we can here. But Chris Byram in the lead of the amateur class, but Morgan Butler is right behind him here. So the two AMs battling out for first place.
Yeah, doing a great job as well.
Morgan!
Morgan, honestly, it's like the commentator's curse with these KRD cars. We mention their name and they just think, oh, I don't want to go near the front of this pack. But yeah, Morgan, another one that's done a really good turnaround, to be fair. So clearly the Pure Sims affiliation with these guys has done them some good. It's a very pretty car as well. That Knight Rider designs, of course, Jake Blackhall always doing an epic job on the liveries, but the metallic silver on that looking fantastic. Behind him at the moment, he has Steve Burke. Oh, there's another car off there. That is Stephen McCaffrey for Pacework Esports. Those cars are honestly, they've got magnets in them for the wall, I think, on this one, Paul, because they're just constantly going off.
Yeah, we'll have a look at the replay then. We're on board. He does have a boosted car behind him, but I don't think that car is going to get involved in this one here. So down to Copse Corner we go. Does he touch the grass? Does he just carry too much speed? He's carried too much speed, and then it snaps on him. Around it goes. barely touches the wall, so he's kind of got away with that one.
Yeah, just about. It's a trait of the Audi, let me tell you that, from driving it last season. I know that it's very tail happy at high-speed corners, and it seems that some things never change. This, though, is
well, we're going to get one more lap. This is what we're going to get, because with 10 seconds remaining, is going to cross the finish line, which is there. So one more lap here in this race, and Alex Arana, who's further back here in second place, is coming under intense pressure from Ross McFarlane. So McFarlane giving it absolutely everything here at the start of this final lap. So we're coming around Copse Corner then, turn number 1, down through Maggots, the left-hander, into Beckett's, fly over the curb there, down a gear again to third gear, through the left, through the right, carry the speed out the corner, use the curb on the left through Chapel, and now down the Hanger Straight, and Arana has got a little bit of help from lap traffic. Down the Hanger Straight, Ross is not going to be close enough, and really Ross, the next overtaking opportunity here is going to be in towards the complex, because it is such high speed. There's no big braking zones between here and the corner at Brooklands, so not Brooklands, at Priory should I say. So he's going to struggle to try and make a move, but he will try nonetheless. But these two are 6.5 seconds behind your race leader as they head on through into Bridge Corner. That classic shot through Bridge, and I don't think Ross is going to be able to make a lunge. He looks, but he's not quite close enough here. But we'll look forward to the front of your field. Final corner here for Marina Sirica. He's starting off the championship in the best possible way. He's going to come across the start-finish line to take the checkered flag, and a win for Marina Sirica in the opening meeting of the World GT Championship. Second place is going to go to Alex Arana, with Ross McFarlane in third. We'll look back. Your top Pro-Am is Adam Watson. He is in 10th place, and he's going to come across the line now. So win for Adam Watson in your Pro-Am. Scott battling further down across the line. No changes in position there. Your top amateur is Chris Byram. He's actually got a car between him and Morgan Butler, which is ideal for him at the end, and he's going to try and make a move for another position here. He makes the move there, does Byram, and McCaffrey as well, all close together. Contact between the two of them. Who gets it at the line? We'll have to check the results on that one. I think Byram just got it ahead of Morgan Butler. That was intense across the line there.
That was unbelievable. The top three in AM were separated by just under 0.4 of a second. It was 30 thousandths of a second. Chris Byram from Morgan Butler. Morgan saw the opportunity and he thought, well, it's now or never. I'm going to go for it. And, well, he stuck his nose in there and did a great job. The contact maybe didn't need to happen, but at the end of the day, Chris Byram had to defend that, to be honest. And, wow, what a finish to the race there. And interestingly enough, Paul, with Moreno Sirica winning the Pro class, with Adam Watson winning Pro-Am, and Chris Byram winning AM, we have debutants winning all three classes in the first race of the season.
That's absolutely wonderful. Great to see in this opening round of the championship. And great action then for you. Let's get you your race results up on screen then. So it is a win then for Moreno Sirica, an absolute dominant display from the Williams Esports driver, 6.5 seconds ahead against his teammate Alex Arana in second place. The first of the Pure Sim drivers, Ross McFarlane in third, ahead of Michael Evdoka in fourth place. George McClay in the TechSense Fitstyle Motorsports car, fifth place, ahead of the SimSport Racing USA car of Andy Shield. Pete Harrod and Carl Moore were 7th and 8th for Ben Palmer, 9th. And the first of you Pro-Ams, the Pro-Am winner, Adam Watson in 10th place. 11th is Mohamed Janko for the second place in Pro-Am. Christian Rose, 12th, ahead of Michael Gray, who finishes off the podium in your Pro-Ams in 13th. Mike Horder, Paulo Munoz, Anwar Burrell-Smith, Chris Wood, Cam Dance, Ben Gregory and Simon Field to round out your top 20. Adam McNally 21st, with Tom Jacobs 22nd, Steve McCaffrey in 23rd, and then that really close finish, 0.03 of a second between Byram and Butler across the line in your amateur class. So Byram takes the win in amateur ahead of Morgan Butler in second place. David Dixon right with them there in third place in AM, 26th overall. Steve Burke was there hanging around as well with Simon Underhill 28th. Jake Blackall after an incident earlier on 29th, and Adam Hedgecock 30th. Daniel Lee 31st with Gavin Baker, the next of your AMs, in 32nd. John Roberts, good start to the season for him, moving forward in the field in 33rd. Ethan Bass in 34th ahead of Harold Stadler, who we saw having issues. Lars van Rijn in 36th ahead of Michael Blake. Max Bird, who we saw have his instant down at Cops Corner, in 38th ahead of Sean Gardner and Matt Draycott. Niall Crowther 41st with Dean Powell 42nd. Mark Woodhouse, the last of the drivers on the lead lap, and then everyone else was one lap down or more. Tony Draper, Matt Bunn, Kieran Chung, Bradley Burns, Pete Newman, Matthias Van Delden, Alex Neller 50th place. Lewis Bibby, Josh Thompson, who will be heartbroken by that after being in second place. James Whitehouse and David Nichols rounds out your 54 cars. What we do have here then, Chaz, is that we are going to be looking at doing the reverse grid draw now. And, we better explain about this then. So we do have a reverse grid draw. And what this means is that they will invert positions on the grid. Looking at the positions then, it's 12th, 14th, 16th, 18th, 20th, 22nd and 24th are the positions. So it's not the biggest reverse grid draws that I've ever seen in sim races, but it still gives you a bit of encouragement to try and move forward in the field in these races.
Yeah, there's quite a spread between the places that can get reversed, so you're never really sure. There's quite a big bracket between them, so you could end up just in there and just think, oh, I might just scrape in there, and then you never know, you could be like 5 places away from wherever gets reversed. So it's it just keeps the fact that I've been in series before where people sandbag in the first race. They have a bit of an incident, they hold back because they know they're going to get a reverse grid if it's the whole field all the time or if it's a certain position. And in this case, it keeps things interesting. And of course, we get to do the draw live, so there's no bias from any league admins or anyone else. And we get to laugh and point at the people that just miss out on it. So great.
Yeah, so without further ado, let's bring up the wheel then. Brand new wheel for a brand new season. And let's give it a spin then and see where we are going to be inverting that grid as that wheel slows down. Where is it going to stop? Oh, the tension. Is it going to be 12? Is it going to be 22? Is it going to be 18 here? Oh, it's slowing down. Or is it going to be 24? Is it going to be a biggest reverse grid here in this opening round of the championship? And it is 24 is going to be your reverse grid. So that means that Chris Byram, the amateur, wow, pole position for race number 2 here, Chaz.
Well,
what an opportunity for Chris right there.
That's crazy. And interestingly enough as well, Steve McCaffrey had an incident in that race and dropped down, and he ended up 23rd. So he's going to actually start on the front row of the grid. And this is what I mean. You can have these incidents, but as long as you keep plugging away in the rest of the race, you can end up there. Our mate Tom Jacobs is going to be 3rd with Adam McNally 4th on the grid as well from Excite iRacing. So that's a hell of a tasty front 2 rows anyway, and the rest of the guys behind him as well. I mean, we saw the pace of the field in that first race. It's absolutely electric. I can't wait to see how they get on.
What's going to be interesting here is how Marina Sarica and Alex Arana, who are, they're used to sprint races in some of the events that they take part in.
Yeah.
But they're maybe not used to having to work their way through drivers of different abilities coming through that field.
Yeah, that's the thing. These series with the reverse grids, obviously they're not basing their performance off qualifying. It's not just pure pace all the time. You really have to have your wits about you, and of course the racecraft is a real concentrating point in this. because you have to have patience. That's the thing. You'll come up across a lot of drivers that are, no offense to them, but slower than you, effectively. You know, there's no other way of saying it. They're not quite on the same sort of level, and I think that's where it shows the maturity in a lot of these drivers in these sorts of series. It really separates the men from the boys in this one, I think.
And of course, you yourself, you've raced in this series for 7 of the 8 seasons. Any advice for Chris, starting from the front here? He's the man who's controlling that field going to the start of the race.
Don't drive in your mirrors, because we're all guilty of it, no matter what you say. I mean, there's even the pro drivers as well. I was working with Coanda last week, and they were saying that, you know, you'll find yourself, once you're in a battle, you check the relative in your bottom right or wherever you have it on the screen, and you'll keep watching those tenths change up and down, and then you'll be looking in your mirrors and you're not focusing on what's going on ahead and hitting your marks. And it's so easy to just slip into that trance of driving in your mirror. And I mean, I always do it because I'm always getting overtaken no matter where I am. I'm never at the front. So to be honest, the only thing I know from that is not about going forward, but it's about how you manage going backwards. I think based on that performance, though, Chris will be doing a good job of it. I think Morgan will be a bit gutted he's just missed out on the pole position, but it should be a good race to see how some of these pro-ams and some of the AM drivers, of course, defend their places.
Absolutely. Well, that is going to be race 2, which will be with you in just a few moments' time. So stick around. We're going to be just refreshing ourselves, because it was plenty of action in that first race. And if you thought that was action-packed, wait until this second race. You will not want to miss that. But we will be stepping aside just for a few moments, but until then, stick around, get yourself a cup of tea, or maybe something a little bit stronger. We'll be back with race number 2 of 3. Race number 2 of 3 coming up after these adverts.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
is rolling out for the start of today's 400-lap race on this .625-mile racetrack. Here's the starting lineup. On the pole from Dawsonville, Georgia, in the number 9 Coors Ford qualifying and Winston Cup race from North Wilkesboro is underway. Everybody nicely through turns number 1 and 2 as Bill Elliott has the lead and Dale Earnhardt has jumped into second position, followed by Benny Parsons and Bobby Allison.
Welcome back then to coverage of the opening meeting of Season 8 of the World GT Championship, brought to you in association with 3M and Pure Sims and of course Simmortal Models. My name is Paul Smith. Alongside me in the commentary box is Chaz Draker. We're here at Silverstone. Second race of 3 races here this evening. And different track conditions, 20 degrees in the air, 36 degrees on the track. So the track is a little bit hotter than race number 1. And clear blue skies for these drivers here at Silverstone. But yeah, myself and Chaz here on commentary. And well, race 1. I have to say that was a fantastic race to watch.
Oh yeah, a hell of a way to kick off the season. That was absolutely amazing. So much action all the way up and down. We could barely cover all of it. Honestly, I didn't know where to look on the timing screen, where to look on the actual screen in front of me with all the production feed. It's just crazy. Really is, and it just highlights what I said at the top of the broadcast. You know, there's so much going on, and it's such a frantic championship. This sprint race format, well, it's not everyone's cup of tea. It does a hell of a good job at providing some entertaining racing.
Absolutely. And of course, second race, inverted grid. We saw it on the spinning wheel. 24 is the one. So we've got an AM at the head of the field. So that's going to be a bit of a daunting prospect for him, but it gives him a great opportunity for Chris Byram, to be able to set out the stall here in this race. But we are getting actually to the end of the warm-up session. It's really fast-paced in this series, really quick at turning around the servers. So that is definitely great to see here. But final thoughts, just very quickly, Chaz here. What's your final thoughts on this second race? What can people expect to see?
Drivers being impatient is something I'm going to come back to. I did say earlier on that patience is a virtue, and a lot of the time you'll see the quicker guys just expecting everyone around them to have similar pace to them, but there is a big variation of talent in this field, and I think that some of them are going to get caught out by it, whether it be the quicker guys or the slower guys. The miscommunications do happen, I mean, these guys don't have direct radios to a lot of each other's communications, of course. So some of them will be in Discord channels chatting away with their teammates, but when it comes to someone that's not in their team, there's no knowing at all what is going to go on. So I think we're going to see quite a lot of action in the mid-pack as some of these quicker guys try to make their way through.
Well, here we go then. Chris Byram, pole position. Second place, Steve McAfee, with Tom Jacobs and Adam McNally in 4th place. Simon Fields, Ben Gregory, then the next row, Cameron Dance and Chris Wood. Anwar Burrell Smith and Paulo Munoz, who we saw having a little bit of a moment, down in 10th place, with Mike Horder and Michael Gray. Christian Rose, Mohamed Janko with Adam Watson, Ben Palmer 16th. Carl Moore ahead of Pete Harrod, Andy Shield and George McClay in 20th. Michael Udoka and Ross McFarlane, Alex Arana and Marina Sarica, the race winner from race 1, he's down in 24th. Morgan Butler and Nathan Dixon next, ahead of Steve Burke and Simon Underhill. Jay Blackall and Adam Hedgecock with Daniel Lee and Gavin Barker. John Roberts, Ethan Bass with Harold Stadler, Lars Van Rijn, Michael Blake, Max Bird, who I expect to see come through the field. Sean Gardner, Matt Draycott down in 40th. Niall Crowther, should I say, ahead of Dean Powell. Matt Woodhouse and Tony Draper in 44th. Matt Bunn and Kieran Chung ahead of Bradley Burns and Pete Newman. So a couple of guys further down here having a bit of recovery drives. Matthias Van Delden and Alex Nella with Lewis Bibby and Josh Thompson. Expect to see him on a hard charge. Final row of the grid, James Whitehouse and David Nichols.
Yeah, two of the newcomers to the championship there, having a bit of a baptism of fire, starting at the back of the grid for race 2. But at the same time, we've got Stephen McCaffrey, who's done a couple of rounds in previous seasons of World GT, alongside Chris Byram. Tom Jacobs there waving and warming up his tyres. He's in a red Ferrari, and anyone that knows Tom Jacobs, he's a humongous Ferrari fan, possibly the biggest Ferrari fan on earth. And for him to be driving this season in a red Ferrari, Paul, I imagine that he's rather chuffed is a understatement.
Yeah, absolutely. But we see our pole sitter then, Chris Byram, pole position for P1 Racing. And well, it's rather apt, that name, because he is in position 1 here. And this is going to be intriguing to see how he handles this. How much experience, we don't know how much experience he has of doing rolling starts, especially from the front of the field. So this is maybe something new to him, or maybe he's very experienced at it. We don't know, we have to find out and wait and see. But this is the race where things could end up getting a little bit chaotic. So we could see a real mixed up result here, Chaz.
Yeah, for sure. And just looking at the stats now, Chris Byram has 1,779 iRating to Stephen McCaffrey's 2,400. We all know that by now iRating doesn't mean that much. A lot of these guys tend to only do league racing. I mean, I remember when I first met Matt Bunn, who is further down the order at this point, but he, when I first met him, had about 600 iRating, I think. He absolutely tanked it, but he was the quickest in the league that we first ran in together. And it just shows as well that it can just be a number. But race 2 of the season, I mean, you can tell I'm excited, is just about to get underway then as they come through the complex, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the Champions of the Future, you can mention the name of that because we showed that on Racebot TV back in the day. So back 2015, absolutely. But here we go then. Let's focus on the World GT Championship, race number 2 of meeting 1. And Chris Byram is going to get on it now. The green flag will be in the air, and Stephen McAfee going to make a move around the outside in the Audi 2x2 all the way down the straight into Copse Corner. A little bit of contact for Byram. There's a car on the inside. That's Tom Jacobs. 3 wide as they're heading in to Maggots for the first time. Come on, let's have it nice and clean. And it is Byram who's in the lead. Tom Jacobs fighting, and he's up into second place here for them. McNally is off. There's a car going across the grass there in Beckett's, but we're going to focus at the front here, because Jacobs is looking to try and make some moves on Byram.
Yeah, I don't know how they all survived that there. 3 wide going into Maggots and Beckett. You've got to be absolutely off your rocker, boys. That was bonkers. But they somehow survived it. Jacobs goes down the inside. Chris Byram here looks like he's crumbling a little bit under the pressure. It was Mike Gray that went off through Maggots and Beckett's and had a bit of an issue there. But these boys now, as we go on board with the number 27 of Cam Dance. Cam's been racing in a lot of different series and showing how good he is in this Ferrari as well. He's very good in open wheel stuff. Ahead of him at the moment is Stephen McCaffrey and Adam McNally as they go through the very quick left-hander. You can see once again, Paul, wow, one of the Team Mad McLarens there having a real tank slapper. I believe that was Chris Wood, who was properly out of shape as Cam flies down the inside on the brakes now on Stephen McCaffrey. Nicely done. He's a little bit out of shape on the exit, I think. Back end just trying to hang out. Stephen McCaffrey gets the cutback. Beautifully executed there as well, just gets it done. They're all having a bit of shenanigans in the midfield behind as well. That's Chris Wood in there as well, getting very sideways. Again, that McLaren out of shape. Tom Jacobs, though, he's looking for the lead here, Paul, with Ben Gregory right in there behind him. Sorry, it's not Ben Gregory. My timing screen just... Yeah, it is McNally. My timing screen on the right-hand side has just refreshed itself at a perfect moment, but McNally now in the Excite car going for it on Tom Jacobs. Yeah,
McNally then in the BMW holding it around. We've seen how people have had issues on that grass crate. Held on to that one magnificently did McNally, but drops down behind McCaffrey once again. So down to 4th place. He's going to have Cam Dance trying to go around the outside, inside for the final part of Beckett. So McNally has gone from 3rd down to 5th place here, just in the space of 3 corners. Down the hanger straight once again. And do you know what? We're only missing 3 cars from this field because Daniel Lee, Bradley Burns and Morgan Butler are all on pit road. McNally to the inside, the Pro versus the Pro-Am into Stowe Corner once again. These drivers, they're absolutely giving it hell for leather, and it's great action here. This is what we wanted to see, a nice clean start to this race as well.
Oh yeah, doing a hell of an amazing job here. There's so much going on. Don't know where to look, but Chris Byram beautifully held at the front so far. On board now with Cam Dance again. He's now got Adam McNally in the very lively Z4 just in front of him. And I tell you what, some great battles going on here. A lot of these drivers haven't raced against each other before. There is a large chunk of them that have done a lot of series together. It's side by side just behind these guys as well. Oh, Cam goes down the inside very late on McNally. Great awareness there from Adam not to let the contact happen. That's Chris Wood off the circuit, is it? Yes, it is, in the number 87 Team Mad McLaren. Looks like that thing might be a bit too much of a handful for him here, Paul, and we know the McLaren's lively. Yes, it certainly is. Further down, Ross McFarlane and Christian Rose, they're going side by side. They're compatriots from Pure Sim. 2 different teams, of course, between them. And it's going to be McFarlane ahead of Rose then. So up to 13th for Ross. What about our race 1 winner? I'm just looking through. Well, Alex Arana is in 11th place. Marina Sarica is in 15th. So he's had issues, big issues for Munoz. He's dropping down the order that fast. I couldn't get selected on him. But there he is into the grass. We'll have a look at this one on replay then. Key thing is here, does he get any help? Oh, he's a bit out of shape there. The 2 McLarens in front of him, 2 boosted motorsport cars as well. 2 teammates. Just have a look as he goes into Maggots and Beckett. He's down the inside. It's 3 wide. Look at that. Oh, and he does get a tiny tap from the McLaren. But to be honest, the McLaren didn't really have anywhere to go in that scenario there because there was always going to be a squeeze. That was actually Mike Horder, the reigning Pro-Am champion. But at the moment, another Pro-Am driver to keep an eye on is Tom Jacobs, who's leading the class. Steve McCaffrey is behind him at the moment. And they're 1st and 2nd, of course, in that class. Chris Byram is the top Am and, of course, top driver in the entire race, while Cam Dance and Adam McNally and Anwar Beryl-Smith just behind these guys in 4th, 5th and 6th place. So 1, 2, 3 in Pro, but he's got a bit deep there as Chris Byram. Tom Jacobs opens the door. That's going to put him on the outside for the next corner now. McCaffrey's going to try and look down the inside. Tom slots back into place though, and he's going to get a good run out of there, Paul, down towards the old Turn 1 at Cops. Well, it's the current Turn 1 at Cops for us here. Oh, yeah. And here we are, side by side, Byram and Jacobs, and you just feel that Jacobs, with that inside line, could get this one done. Byram will try his best to hold on, and your pole sitter is down to 2nd place. He's compromised through Cops Corner, and here comes McAfee, and also Cam Dance is getting involved in this one as well. Dance up into 3rd place. He's
going to make a move for second place here. Oh, Byram's on the grass. Dance makes it through, and now everybody's checking up because Byram, third place, McAfee and McNally are there as well. Burrell Smith not that far behind them. Look at that train of cars behind them.
That was absolutely guts out there from Cameron Dance. What an amazing bit of driving is here with Alex Arana making his way up the order as well. He's got Anwar Smith just in front of him now. Alex Arana just getting past Ben Gregory there. And now it's looking ominous, this Williams Esports car, the 888 BMW Z4. And I don't mean 888 Motorsports, they used to run one in British GT, but it's simply just the car number in this case. And to tell you what, BMW on BMW, this is going to be very interesting. Anwar likes a defence, really does like a defence, but to be fair, Alex Arana has shown his class so far in the very pretty Williams Esports car. Takes a late apex, sorry, an early apex, and he's down the inside of Anwar again on the brakes. Look at that. How do you do that? Like, on a driver like Anwar that is, as quick as Anwar, to do that as the battle. Oh, McNally!
McFarlane, big news. It's McFarlane off. That's at Priory.
Yeah, that's a proper wake-up call for him, isn't it, around there? Let's have a look.
So he's battling away with the BMW. He's ahead of him. Is he just going to lose control through bridge? The cars in front are checking up. He tries to make the move on Sarika, ends up on the grass, avoids the wall though. That's crucial for us.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we saw a massive accident in the first race there for one of the, it was Matisse van Delden, wasn't it, the Nomad car that went flying into the wall there in race one. Looking back now from your race leader, Tom Jacobs, he'll be very happy with this at the moment. Channeling his inner Vettel, hopefully it doesn't spin. Cam Dance is second though, and they are stable mates. As you can see at the bottom there, they were TechSense Fitstye and Renvale Fitstye. And of course Jack Styles, their team manager, is in the YouTube chat as well watching, saying the crowd goes wild as they get 1-2, but hopefully they don't make contact. I know Tom is a very gutsy defender as well. Well,
look at the man who's coming through the field though. Alex Arana doing a sensational job in that Williams Esports BMW. He's just passed Stephen McAfee to get up into fourth place. He's got Chris Byram, the man, the amateur driver. That's no knock on his pace, by the way. That is what the admins have decided, the category that Chris will be in. And he is now in third place, but he's coming under all sorts of pressure from Arana, and Arana wants to make this move straight away. Goes down the inside at Brooklands, is banging, door banging behind between McAfee and Anwar Burrell Smith as well. So those two are knocking 7 bells out of each other, but through they go. McAfee then still hanging on to that 5th place, but Burrell Smith looking to the outside here.
Yeah, he's going to try and make it work, doesn't he? Makes Steve McCaffrey go a bit late, hoping for the cutback round Copse. Looks like he might not do it back at the front. These two almost side by side into Maggots and Beckett's. Tom will be feeling the pressure for this, because I know that Cam Dance isn't the guy that likes to back off. I mean, we saw his fantastic driving through Maggots and Beckett's earlier. You can see Tom just modulating the brakes there. It's a very tricky part of the circuit to get right there each time. As Cam moves over to the right now, you'd think that Tom wouldn't make this too difficult for his stable mate, but side by side with Arana in the background, and then Anwar Burrell Smith's got that absolute train behind him. Ben Gregory and Moreno Sarika in there as well, but to the front goes Cam Dance, and he is now in the overall race lead of the top Pro-Am, of course. Sorry, the top Pro. I do apologise. And this is Ben Palmer off the circuit, and there's a bit of damage to the front of that car here, Paul. Let's have a look what we've got.
Yeah, so this is on the replay. This is through Maggots, Beckett, onto the brakes, back end goes around. Oh, does it strip up? Yes, it does. Oh. Collects one of the Fitstye cars. I don't know who that was.
Just trying to have a look down and see which one of them it was, but I can't see anything that's really that far down the order to make it obvious for us, I'm afraid. But Harold Stadler has dropped down, actually. Harold Stadler has dropped way down. Yeah, it was. Look at the state of that. That's turned it into a 3-1-2. Never mind a 4-8-8. That's an absolute mess now, and it's not handling well either. But back at the front, though, as you just saw there, Alex Arana is closing this gap. Well, closing the gap. There isn't one anymore. He's right at the back of Tom Jacobs. Jack Styles has said there's no team orders at Fitstye. They can race each other. Alex putting Tom under pressure, though, down the inside into Copse. And to be honest, we probably thought it was going to be a case of when, not if. And Alex Arana is going to try and get to the front here and make it 2 race wins for Williams. He's still got almost half the race left to do it, Paul. But if we look in the background, Anwar Beryl-Smith, you know what I was saying about driving in mirrors? You wouldn't want to rip the mirrors off that thing and not look at them ever again if you're Anwar right now.
Well, Chris Byram's just lost a position to Marina Sarica. He's doing his best to try and get himself a really good result for the amateur. He was the top amateur in race number 1. He's obviously the top amateur here in race number 2. Top Pro-Am, by the way, is Tom Jacobs that we were looking at earlier. We've got side-by-side action, Field and Moore. And that's Moore down the inside, the Pro on the Pro-Am. So change of position for 10th place there for them. But Sarica now already onto the back of Beryl-Smith.
Yeah, the gaps just open and close so much in these trains, because once one guy tries to make a move and loses a bit of time, if he holds him and the other car up as well, to be fair, Anwar making it nice and easy there for Sarica. He's saying, I'm not going to get involved in this, mate. You can just carry on, and off you go. You've clearly got the pace on me, and there's no point me having a big battle to risk having an accident there. There was one of the Paceworks cars down the inside. I remembered it one day. Look down the inside of Chris Byram, doesn't quite work there. That's Steve McCaffrey. Behind him is Ben Gregory, and then his teammate Carl Moore in one of the other. Ben Gregory just flashing his lights there. Look at that behind them. Mohamed Janko, Simon Field, Adam Watson, Michael Avdoka. They're all together. Oh, there's contact, I think, there between Simon Field and Mohamed Janko. Sorry, it's not Janko, it's Watson. Adam Watson there in the other Paceworks car. And behind him is Avdoka and Andy Shield as well. They're going for it as well. Inter-team battles all over the place here, Paul. I love it.
Yeah, this is fantastic. Into Cops then, and it's Watson down the inside of Field, pushing Field wide. Oh, Watson goes off into the grass. We've seen how that's been a disaster for others around there. But he still actually holds on around the outside. That slide on the Audi, then the inside of Beckett, and now here comes Michael Avdoka. He's looking to make the move here, but none forthcoming. This is the battle for 11th, for 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th and 19th. It's all together here down into the down into Stir Corner, and it's Watson once again making his move, forcing Field onto the grass, and Field amazingly keeps it in place.
Ironic that Simon Field gets forced onto the grass, to be honest, but Adam Watson, that was brilliant stuff, but he just ran a little bit too wide there, sorry. Didn't quite give him the room, but Simon Field got away with it. McLaren, lead change almost. Well, I think it's going to happen. Cam Dance, he's a little bit deep there into the left-hander. And now Alex Arana has the door open, and down the inside he goes, keeps it nice and stable. Cam Dance is trying everything. I know that Ferrari's been a bit of a pig round here. He's still on the inside, though, into Luffield, nicely held. And the number 27 car somehow keeps the lead there. That was brilliant stuff. He's got a caution sticker on the back of it. Arana won't want to get too close, but he's got the cutback again. This is honestly just relentless.
He parked it on the exit there, did Dance. He tried his best to hold on to that position, but Alex Arana from Williams Esports up into the lead of this race. But Cam Dance is not going to give this one up without a fight, that's for sure, because this is going to be a close battle. It's key to score early points in this series, and to get those points, McAfee is fallen down the order down to 10th place. So Ben Gregory and Mike Horder have both made their way past him, and Mohamed Janko is right with him as well, I can see on my timing screen. But we're focusing on this league battle, although Alex Arana pulling away, and here comes Reina Sarica, race 1 winner, down the inside of Tom Jacobs, up into 3rd place in this race, and there's still 5 minutes 40 remaining here.
This is how you start a season, Williams Esports style. Honestly, these guys have really set the tone at the moment. Mohamed Janko is just dropped behind Stephen McCaffrey there. He's got a couple of his teammates ahead. There's a little Audi pack in the midfield here. You've got Ben Gregory, McCaffrey, Mike Horder and Mohamed Janko. Sorry, that's actually just updated wrong on my screen. Adam Watson it is, I apologise. There is one of the TechSense cars, that's George McClay, chasing down Steve Burke in the Team Lizard Motorsport car. He's actually made his way up the order quite a lot here, from starting 40th in race 1 side by side here. This is McFarlane making his way back through. I believe that's Nathan Dixon. Yep. Ironically, car 488, but the last thing that is a Ferrari 488, as McFarlane nearly clips the grass down the inside, and trying to go with him as well. Pete Newman. Pete Newman's out of nowhere there, just saying, go on then, stable mate. You remember me going through the grid and saying that somebody was going to be on a hard charge was Josh Thompson. He's up to 18th. From the back of the grid, he pretty much started on the penultimate row of the grid, and he's up to 18th
here. This is sensational drive from him. Back to the front, and Cam Dance is now coming under pressure from Moreno Sarica. Through Beckett's we go. Through the right then. Chapel is the next corner. Absolutely flat out on the exit. Down the hanger straight now. Time is running out for Sarica, but Sarica, with the pace that he had in race 1, you would imagine this is going to be him just putting the pressure on and trying to make the move early.
Yeah, he tried to go a little bit later on the brakes where he'd normally brake, got caught out a little bit there by Cam Dance, and now he's actually managed to carry some real speed through. And look at that, that's not an overtaking manoeuvre. It's just, you don't normally go for a move there, but these guys just showing me how it's done. That's a lot of inside curb there, and I've seen people get slowdowns for worse, but let's have a look. He doesn't seem to be slowing down at all, still side by side through the left-hander. Cam Dance has got the lesser preferred line through there, and now into bridge. Moreno Sarica is down the inside. Cam carries the speed, but good defence there from the number 69 machine. And once again, Paul, they may be the other way around this time, but it's Williams Esports 1-2.
It certainly is. Pete Harrod has just had Jake Blackhall get past him further down. We've lost Dean Powell. He's taken a tour back to pit road, so if something's happened to Dean further down your field, we'll try and get a look at what happened for Dean then. So we're on a replay. Oh, he's crabbing already. He's already got the damage, and I think he's going to decide to, do you know what, I'm going to pull this car over here. He's already got the damage. Yeah, he's pulling over the car. He is out of this race. So it is Arana and Sarica, the front two. Then Cam Dance, your top pro-am, is Tom Jacobs getting the back end out around Beckett's. He's coming under pressure from Anwar Burrell Smith in 5th place. Your top am is still Chris Byram. He's in 11th place, so doing well considering the speed of some of those drives that are coming through. Michael Evdoka is all over the tail of Chris Byram, and Nathan Dixon is off at Beckett's, and he's got damage to that rear wing. I think we can guess what's happened here.
Yeah, maybe a bit of
he's
too
already
wide.
got it already.
Oh yeah, he has indeed actually, yeah. It's maybe just losing it into there because of said damage. It's the wonderful looking deformation that we get on the Audi's rear wing. Baggett's and Beckett's though, difficult bit of the track in the Audi because we know how tail happy it is. That weight transfer there just catches him out. He's lucky he doesn't get collected by anybody else there. He does a nice job of stopping it and then getting it out of the way. But unfortunately, the not 488 is off the circuit and down the order because of that. There he is now then, just behind him at the moment is the number 19 of Ethan Bass. Just on his rear end is Matthijs van Delden, and he's trying to become an Audi R8 V10 engine by the look of it. And even in the background then from this lot, we've got more battles there as well. Ben Palmer and John Roberts side by side. Mark Woodhouse in that as well. And this is what I was saying at the top of the broadcast, wasn't it, Paul? There's just, no matter who is against who or where they are in the field, they always give it a go. It looks like a little bit out of shape there as well. Nathan Dixon again. John Roberts just trying to hug the apex. This is Palmer now on the back.
He's just lost the place. Just lost the place to Mark Woodhouse and in the Team Mad car. First time we've seen car around, and that's Dixon again. That damage must be affecting the balance of the car, and he'll be struggling on. We're on to the final lap. My goodness, this has flown by. This has been sensational. Great to watch once again. I hope you've all been enjoying this because yeah, this has been sensational all the way through the field. And really good, respectful racing. Speaking of racing, Jake Blackhall, Christian Rose and Pete Harrod all together, as well as Andy Shield as well. So compatriots from the same stable. There's Adam Nally hanging around behind them as well. He's dropped down the order from the start of the race, hasn't he? Down to 19th has Adam.
Yeah, it looked a bit out of shape at the start of the race, did that BMW. He was really struggling to come to terms with it. He had a couple of wobbles through cops, a little bit of contact here and there. He's had a bit of a door bang there with Pete Harrod, who runs wide. Nothing really completely wrong with that. Yep, Simon Field just taking advantage of that as well. But into the final couple of corners, well, what can we say? This is how you get the season started Williams style, as I said before, Paul.
Yeah, and it's going to be Alex Arana out of Luffield through Woodcut Dots. Don't celebrate like that, you might lose control. But through the final corner to take the win here in race number 2 of meeting 1. Alex Arana for Williams Esports takes the win ahead of Marina Sarika in 2nd place. Cam Dance coming home in 3rd place with Anwar Burrell-Smith, a fantastic 4th place for him. We've still got battling. Simon Field is side by side with Pete Harrod through the final corner. They're going to sort themselves out towards the back of the field. Gavin Baker, we've not spoken about him much. He's getting involved. Oh, there's contact between him. One of the Team Mad cars, that's Mark Woodhouse. There was also a Pure Sim car there, I believe, spinning around as well. That's Ben Palmer again.
Palmer got ploughed into there by, I think it was Lewis Bibby that went through. Lewis just saw the accident happening and didn't seem to be too fond of the brake pedal there, but I mean, in those moments it is hard to react that quickly. It is Lewis Bibby that's behind him. So the P1 car actually gets checked up there. He's side by side with John Roberts, and as he's going around there, he just loses it on his own, I think. Oh no, he just hits the right rear corner of John Roberts' car, and it's the tiniest of touches between Bibby and Palmer, and it just upsets the rear of that McLaren, which we know is loose already. And unfortunately, he is around. We have to give a shout out as well, by the way. Tom Jacobs won the Pro-Am category in that one. And the top am, again, was Chris Byram. So he held on to that well in that one then, Paul, and managed to take his 2nd am win of the season, keeping it 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is race number 2. My goodness. Excitement all the way through. Let's give you your official race results then. And it is Alex Arana who takes the win here for Williams Esports. It's another Williams Esports 1-2 with Marina Sarika in 2nd place. Cam Dance in 3rd place then for TechSense Fitstyle Motorsport with Anwar Burrell-Smith for 3M Racing in 4th. Tom Jacobs then the top Pro-Am 5th place ahead of Carl Moore in 6th place for car number 6. Ben Gregory next Pro-Am in 7th place ahead of Adam Watson, another Pro-Am in 8th place. Steve McAfee started on the front row, held on well to keep a 9th place there ahead of Mohamed Janko in 10th place. Mike Horder 11th ahead of Josh Thompson. What a drive from Josh Thompson. We didn't see him at all during that broadcast because every time I looked further down the order, he wasn't there, and that's because he was moving up the field. Michael Avdoka in 13th place ahead of Chris Byram, your top amateur driver, in 14th. So he did really well to hold on to positions there. Jake Blackall, Christian Rose, Andy Scheel and Adam Nally all came across together, with Ross McFarlane and Simon Field down in 20th place. Pete Harrod 21st ahead of George McClay in 22nd. Stephen Burke 23rd ahead of Pete Newman 24th. That's the last of the potential reverse grid positions. Lars van Rijn, the next amateur in 25th. So he's on the podium for the amateurs with Tony Draper, the 3rd place in amateur in 26th. Alex Neller, Matt Bunn, Kyron Chung and Ethan Bass round out your top 30. Matthias van Delden, good recovery from what happened in race number 1 to finish 31st. Simon Underhill 32nd ahead of John Roberts, who we saw get involved in that little bit of, no fault of his own, that little bit of shenanigans at the end there. Lewis Bibby 34th. Paulo Munoz having to do a little bit of a recovery drive in 35th. James Whitehouse 36th ahead of Gavin Baker. Matt Woodhouse and Ben Palmer 38th and 39th. They'll be very disappointed with that. Max Bird down in 40th. I was actually expecting a little bit more from Max from that race. Matt Draycott in 41st ahead of Sean Gardner. David Nichols, Niall Crowther, Nathan Dixon, Dean Powell, Michael Gray, Adam Hedgecock, Harold Stadler and Michael Blake down in 50th place and did not finish, along with Chris Wood. Absolute nightmare for Team Mad then, with only one car finishing. Daniel Lee, Morgan Butler and Bradley Burns all did not finish at this 54 car grid. But Chaz, we'll bring you up on screen here. That was a sensational second race, and hats off. If I wasn't wearing a headset, I would take my hat off right now. Really clean start to that race. We were expecting maybe a little bit of shenanigans at the start, but brilliant, respectful driving from all the drivers. That was great stuff to see.
Yeah, there was a lot less shenanigans than we expected for sure, and I think that everyone did a great job coming through the order. There were still a couple of incidents that we saw here and there. Here and there? That sounds like a German version of it. But to be honest, they did a good job with their patience in that one, and I was a bit of a critic before the race had even begun that was one of the key things they'd have to focus on, but they did a very good job. But to be honest, Arana and Sarika, I mean Thompson as well, it was a great drive through the pack. According to the chat, there was an incident or two, but at the end of the day, he still made it home in that position. And I think Williams Esports have really woken everybody up a little bit to just quite how far ahead of the competition they are here. There are some teams, though. I mean, look at Steve McCaffrey and his teammates as well. They've really shown themselves here. Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen much from them before this season, and to be honest, they've really done a good job with it. The boosted cars are up there as well. The Team Mad cars were until, unfortunately, they didn't have many cars finished there, as you said, and of course the absolute plethora of Pure Sims and the KRD cars as well, all stablemates of course that we've got in there, and the 3M Sport cars as well. There's so many strong teams and great combinations, and to be honest, to see this pack as well in these really gorgeous cars, and it's not just a Mercedes festival as well, with none of them being here. This is really shaping up to be a strong season, and we've got another race yet. Don't forget, everyone, we've got one more, so don't go anywhere. Yeah,
well, we've got to decide the grid for that final race. So here we are then, the reverse wheel once again. It's where we left it off then. 24th was the previous one. Let's spin the wheel again and find out where we're going to be starting this race. So as the wheel slows down, where is it going to land? Oh, it's slowing down. It's not going to be 12. It's not going to be 22. Or don't say it's going to be 24 again. Surely not. No, it's going in. Short. It's 14. Surely. We have to wait and confirm it. And it is going
You're not going to believe it.
14.
Guess what?
Chris Byram is on pole position for this race. Absolutely brilliant. You can't write that.
You couldn't make it up.
This isn't predetermined or anything. I can assure you of this. I'm pressing a button and letting that draw at random. So Chris Byram is going to be on pole position with Michael Evdoka on the front row of the grid. Now this is going to be very tough indeed with Michael up there, because he's a quick driver is Michael. Right behind them though, Josh Thompson, the hard-charging Josh Thompson. We know how aggressive he can be. He's dialed that back in the last couple of years, and he's really worked on his consistency. He's going to be starting third ahead of Mike Horder, the top Pro-Am of the grid there, but he's got a few Pro-Ams behind him of Janko, McAfee, Watson and Gregory as well. So a relatively small reverse grid. This is going to be front. This is going to be brilliant.
It is going to be absolutely epic, and of course Mike Horder is the current reigning Pro-Am champion as well, so he's got a lot of honour to try and uphold here. And with drivers like Evdoka and Thompson around you, I mean, Chris Byram, again, don't drive in your mirrors, mate. He did a great job in that race, though, to be fair, because no disrespect to the AM drivers, of course, because like you said earlier, Paul, it's not a knock on their pace or anything. It's just in comparison to the other drivers in the series, that's how they're ranked. And to be honest, we often see AMs get pole position and start near the front of the field, and we expect them to sink like stones. And in a field as competitive as this, Chris Byram did exactly the opposite of that, and he floated and did a really good job of staying up there and to remain in the top 20. I was going to make a pun there, but we're not going to go for that. This is it's not 9. Oh, it is 9 p.m., but we're not going to go for that. But either way, this is going to be a corking final race, so make sure you stick around for this.
Yeah, this is going to be great. So, as you say, stick around for this one. We're going to have one final race of the evening here, another 20-minute sprint race here in the World GT Championship, presented by 3M, Pure Sims and Simortal. But make sure you join us after these few advertisements. Go and get yourself a refreshment, although we'd prefer you to pay attention to the advertisements that are about to be shown. And stick around, because this final race, if that second race is anything to go by, it's just going to be dialed up even more. Stick around then for this final race of the evening.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Where the field is rolling out for the start of today's 400-lap race on this 0.625-mile racetrack. Here's the starting lineup. On the pole from Dawsonville, Georgia, in the number 9 Coors Ford qualifying and Winston Cup race from North Wilkesboro is underway. Everybody nicely through turns number 1 and 2 as Bill Elliott has the lead and Dale Earnhardt has jumped into second position, followed by Benny Parsons and Bobby Allison.
Welcome back. It is the final race of the evening here in the World GT Championship Season 8 Meeting 1 here at the historic Silverstone. And I'm not just saying that because it is a historic venue. I'm saying that because it is literally the historic layout of Silverstone here. But it is the third race of the evening. Track conditions up on screen were 1 degree warmer than race 2. Partly cloudy sky though, so these drivers are going to have to contend with that. But Paul Smith and Chaz Draycott in the commentary booth, and you'll see our faces there because it is the final race of the evening. Then it's the reverse grid. We had number 14 drawn, which once again was Mr. Byram. And he can send me the bribes to P.O.
Chris Bribham.
Yes, absolutely. But we've only got about 45 seconds before we go to the grid here, Chaz. Thoughts of the evening so far? That second race, really, really good.
Oh yeah, I don't think I have enough words to sum up how good it is. To be honest, we've seen at the start of these seasons before when all the drivers get used to each other on track and they have that frantic start to the season because, as you said before, you have to get points early on. You don't want to start the season on the back foot to the people that you think will be your rivals over the course of the championship. Usually we see a bit of chaos, usually a bit of impatience from people coming through. There's been none of that, to be honest. I think it's been a really, really high driving standard so far tonight, and I hope it continues over the season. I know that the guys won't mind me saying, in the past, I mean, I was a previous admin of the series as well. There have been sort of driving standard issues before, even at the midpoint of the season. Looks like we're going to get none of that this season as things carry on. We've got such a high quality grid, but I've got my fingers crossed. I've got my fingers crossed, mate.
We've got a third race to get through here, Chaz. But no, I will say, driving standards from what we've seen have been really, really high. But with that, we will be heading to the grid for the final race of the evening here, and we will bring up that grid right now. But it is going to be Chris Byram then on pole position once again. This time Michael Abdoka second place for Pure Sims OBP, with Josh Thompson, Mike Horder third and fourth. Mohamed Janko and Stephen McAfee in 5th and 6th place, with Adam Watson and Ben Gregory 7th and 8th. Row 5, Carl Moore and Tom Jacobs, with Anwar Burrell Smith and Cam Dance 12th place. Rainer Sareka and Alex Arana 13th and 14th, with Jake Blackhall and Christian Rose 15th and 16th. Andy Shield and Adam McNally 17th and 18th, with Ross McFarlane and Simon Field on row 10. Row 11 is Pete Harron with George McClay, Stephen Burke ahead of Pete Newman on row 12. Row 13 is Lars Van Ryan with Tony Draper in 26th. 27th is Alex Nella ahead of Matt Bunn. Kieran Chung and Ethan Bass round out to 30th, with Matthias Van Delden. I think I've said about 3 different ways of saying his name, so I do apologise.
Same.
With Simon Underhill in 32nd. John Roberts, Lewis Bebe, the next row with Paolo Munoz. James Whitehouse, 36th. Gavin Baker, Matt Woodhouse, Ben Palmer and Max Bird down to 40th. 20th row of the grid, that is. Matt Draycott and Sean Gardner, 41st, 42nd, with David Nichols and Niall Crowther, 44th. Nathan Dixon, Dean Powell, the next row with Michael Gray and Adam Hedgecock. Row 15 is Harold Stadler and Michael Blake, Chris Wood and Daniel Lee. And the final row of the grid, Morgan Butler and Bradley Burns, rounding out your 54 car grid. Amazing to see such a big grid on display once again. And, well, Chaz, it's been a great evening so far. Let's hope, touch wood, I'm touching as much wood as I possibly can, that we can get another awesome final race here.
That was the sound of me smacking wood very hard, because I'll tell you what, I really hope that this third race reflects just how good the racing has been in these first 2 this evening, because we've seen so much action all the way up and down the order. It's been never ending, and I think we're going to see it again here. And of course, those Williams guys, are they going to make it back to the front again? I hate to say it, but I think so. I think they're going to get a complete washout tonight. It'd be very apt if one of each driver could get a race win each by the end of the night, if Josh Thompson manages to make his way up the front, dependent on the team orders and what they want to do. But at the end of the day, it's all going to be about points at this part of the championship, because you need to start off making sure that you are not on the back foot.
Absolutely, and of course we head on into an endurance race for the next round of the championship, which is going to be crucial. We'll discuss that at length next week, how that works.
We'll have enough time.
Absolutely, but this is your final sprint race of the evening, and well, front row of the grid, pole position, Chris Byram. He's got a bit of practice from race 2, should I say. Do you think he'll get a better launch from this one? Because he seemed to just get caught out by the second place driver.
Yeah, I think he knows what the situation is now. He was a bit close to the safety car last time round, so he had to back out at the last minute. And we saw that, I took quite a sharp inhale of breath because I thought the safety car was going to collide with him, because I've seen it collide with some people and then not with others. He's hanging back a bit more this time, though. He knows the story. But he soaked up the pressure pretty well in that second race. I think he can do the same again, but you never know who's going to be coming up behind you in these races. And to be fair, if you've not got much experience with the guys around you, you don't really know what the pace difference is to expect. But we'll have to see what he does. At the end of the day, there's only one way to find out as we just get to the start of a race 3.
So here we are then, round Luffield for the start of race 3 of meeting 1 of season 8 of the World GT Championship. Chris waits, he's going early, he's decided to jump it, green flag is in the air, and we're away for 20 minutes of racing for the final time this evening. Through Woodcote they all go, into Copse Corner for the first time. Look at the up and under there from Michael Evdoka, and Michael Horder getting a great start on Josh Thompson. Able to get ahead of him initially, and Thompson now up into second place, and off goes Byram across the grass. There's another car, Fitzstein car, going off across the grass. That was Jacobs. There's another Fitzstein car as well. Cam Dance. Adam McNally's going off in the grass as well. Absolute nightmare further down for Byram. Oh, we've got a car upside down in the background. One of them is Dixon. Nathan Dixon is involved in this one. We'll get a look at this then. Further back at the start, it was three wide into Copse, then they all sort themselves out. Oh, there was a car already bouncing down there. That's Munoz.
Yeah, that's not the way he wanted that to end, for sure. That's a big incident. Not much left of that Ferrari.
Try and get a look at this then. He's on the... Oh, there's a car coming back on! Heck. What on earth is that? And that's Burrell Smith. He knows better than that.
I'm not sure whether he might have had a hardware failure or something, because I know that Anwar doesn't... He's better than that. I'm really not sure what the situation was there. I hope that that was just a case of maybe the throttle sticking open or the brakes not working. I know that he'd lost it into turn 1. I saw him go on the AstroTurf. He saved it and then it went into the wall. So whether it was just spinning back onto the track, but it looked like it was under its own power in a straight line. You've got the 3 Paceworks cars here together, actually. We're just looking at one of them now having a battle with Marino Sirica. Yeah, Carl Moore, and then Watson and McCaffrey just ahead in the 2 Audis. But these Williams cars picking their way through the order already. Josh Thompson and Michael Evdoka at the front of the pack, though. These guys have had so many battles together before, and I know that we're going to see another epic encounter here between those pair. Great to see these guys all having a good scrap within the top 20, though. I mean, look at that train behind Paul. There's so many cars just trying to make places and people trying to defend. And as I was saying before, once one battle opens up, the gap to the guys in front or behind just closes so quickly. There's a couple of guys that just swapped in places. Oh, that was very close.
I believe that was Tom Draper, and also Alex Nella swapping places further down your field. Up at the front, Josh Thompson takes the lead of this race for Williams Esport. Down in towards Club for the second lap. And he's holding on to that position as well. So Michael Evdoka. Now, Evdoka is a quick driver. We mentioned that already. He is somebody who can challenge Josh. As Marino Sirica diving over the grass in the background there. So he's using all the track and then some.
Yeah, definitely. He's taking advantage of the runoff area there as we're on board with Evdoka down the inside of Josh Thompson. He tries to get it done, but Josh carries so much pace through the corner, he doesn't quite get it done. That was very nicely executed from Evdoka, just couldn't quite get it done. This is Josh Thompson he's trying to race against, but it does surprise me, you know. I mean, not to blow his horn too much, that Michael Avdoka isn't really a World Championship driver. The pace this guy has is absolutely incredible. Everything I see him in, he's quick. We've got another little battle going on here. This is Cam Dance. He is side by side with, I believe that's Christian Rose. Good to see Christian back out there. I was an ex-teammate of his at CQR. Really good friends with Christian, and not really seen him about that much, but it's good to see him back out and getting involved. He has Jake Blackhall, then Andy Shield behind him, then Ross McFarlane. So all the Pure Sims cars still sticking together.
Oh, Chris Byram. No,
oh, no.
Your pole sitter. Well, he had such a promising first race of the evening, and he has ended up in the kitty litter here. What's happened? This is one of the Lizard Motorsports cars, car 23.
Steve Burke,
That's
that was.
Steve Burke, yeah. And we're going to stay on the replay because also Tom Draper has had an incident. 3 wide down towards Cops Corner. That's a bit braze from the Fitzdy car down the inside. Boosted to the outside. And here I am stuck in the middle with you as he goes through. Tom Draper. Now, it's all coming together. And Draper was the innocent party there in that one, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
It all just squeezed together, 3 into 1. Does not go.
No, it was 3 wide again there, and I'm not sure. I think it might have been Simon Underhill that forced the issue in the Nomad Sim Racing Audi, put it down through the middle of them. And there's the 3 Paceworks cars again. We've got Craig Setup Shop commenting saying, look at the Paceworks cars, they're beautiful. Nothing to do with the fact that it's his logo and his face actually on the side of that car. But they're having a good inter-team battle here. The 2 Audis following the BMW. Some nice formation flying. On board with number 29, Adam Watson. It's been a good showing by this team so far in their debut in the series. And to be honest, I think that it's going to carry on that way for them over the course of the season. They've shown some good pace. They've got Ben Gregory just behind there in 10th position. And to be honest, Paul, I think with the reverse grids not being as big as they used to be, it's kept a lot of the really high quality stuff up the front, while, you know, it still gives everyone an even chance at points, really, if they get a good finish in the first or second races. That's
nothing against the drivers that are fighting further down as well, because they are quality as well. Sarika is battling with Janko here, and hats off to Janko, holding on to the position here, looking back from the rear of his car. Vulcan Sim Racing, great to see them involved in this series, but here comes Sarika to the inside. They're not fighting each other in a championship here. This is where you've got to pick and choose your battles, isn't it, Chaz? Because Sarika and Arana, those two, they are very much pro drivers. Janko, he's got to think of that Pro-Am championship, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's the thing. You've got to make sure that if you're going to have a battle with somebody, you're not putting yourself in risk of having an incident if you're defending too hard from someone in a class above you. I'll always remind Steve Burke, ex-teammate and a very good friend of mine, that on the last lap here on one of the media days that we had in the World GT Championship, he was leading the Pro-Am class by a long way, and there was an unnamed pro driver coming up behind him, and I said, he's going to be quicker than you, just let him through. You'll have an incident if you defend it too hard, and you won't win the Pro-Am classes. Down the inside here, Cam Dance on Ben Gregory. Long story short, Steve got into contact and didn't win the Pro-Am class in that race. So Cam Dance, though, trying to make everything work here on Ben Gregory. Ben running as a privateer this season in, I believe, what's called his Jericho livery. But behind these guys, though, Jake Blackhall and Christian Rose are lining up here, Paul. And this is what I was saying earlier. If you try and make a move and it doesn't work, you very quickly find that you're under pressure again in this field.
Yeah, down the inside goes Dance. No move made yet, so he's going to sit behind it. Here comes Blackhall. Jake Blackhall getting the run out of Cops on Cam Dance. Looking to the inside of Beckett's not going to be forthcoming for him. But that BMW is really, really solid through Beckett into Chapel. And the hanger straight again, and it is Cam Dance putting the pressure on Ben Gregory in front, and he is getting the slipstream here. Down into Stowe corner, Dance to the inside of Stowe. Gregory, though, can hold the speed around the outside, and that's exactly what he's done in that Audi, and he's going to hang on into Club.
I think Cam just caught the grass a little bit, and it just upset his Ferrari slightly round the long corner of Stowe. He's trying it again now on Ben Gregory, but I mean, look at those Pure Sims cars behind. We've just had a comment saying Paceworks train. There's a Pure Sims train going on there with TechSense cars at either end. But Gregory is the cork in the bottle at the moment, it seems, in that 113 car. Cam Dance looks down the inside. Jake Blackhall's going to try and take advantage of this. He's going to go around the outside now into the complex. He's going to try and get around Ben Gregory as well, side by side into the next left-hander on the brakes. Bit of contact. Still managing to keep it together. Andy Shields in there.
Look at all these pure sim cars. They're all just queuing up. It's like buses. None are around them. All of a sudden, 6 of them come along at once. But this is crazy stuff from them. And they've just got a huge queue of traffic right behind them here as they head on down into turn number 1, Copse Corner. And that is one of the pure sim cars making the move. That's Christian Rose and Andy Shield going through Copse Corner. These drivers heading on out of Copse. This is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, there's just, again, we come back to battles all over the shop. It's absolutely brilliant. All over the grass there as well. The Ferrari just bouncing around. It looked like an out-of-control lawnmower. Andy Shield, a bit of damage on the back of that car at the moment. He has got, I believe that's George McClay in the number 33, just behind him. Then it's Matt Bunn, Tom Jacobs in there as well. He's got the attentions of reigning champion Pete Harrod. Look at that, Matt Bunn chucking it down the inside of George McClay. Very feisty stuff in the 3M car. Oh, I think there was contact. I think there was a touch and George McClay has disappeared. Yeah, there he is. Unfortunately, the two of them just tangling wheels and bouncing around. And that was going to be that for those pair. Let's have another look at what happened here. Obviously nothing intentional. I mean, Matt Bunn, though, very, very aggressive move down the inside. Flicked the car one way, then the other. Managed to chuck it down there on the brakes. He's all the way over on the left-hand side. Chucks it over to the right. And then McClay goes wide to the outside. Matt just runs a little bit wide. It's the tiniest of touches. And I think the word that we don't like saying on the iRacing Esports Network was at play there. But to be honest though, Paul, these cars are quite fragile when they have a bit of contact, and it can be quite easy to spin them around, can't it?
Yeah, good rejoin though, nice and clean rejoin there, and able to carry on. Up at the front, Sarika and Arana have made it into 3rd and 4th place here. So they're able to move forward. Mua now battling with Janko. Apologies if there are a few little technical issues on screen. We are trying to resolve them as quickly as possible here for you. Through the S as they go. And more behind Janko and Watson. Trying to make his way through, but not happening so far.
No, nothing doing yet. Craig Setup Shop saying, I don't mind a Pure Sims train either. They also have a CSS logo on the car as well. So I know that he's going to be a happy bunny. But Mohamed Janko putting up a great defensive drive at the moment in the Vulcan Sim Racing car. Great name as well. Humongous fan of the wonderful bomber that we all know and love made by Avro. Or at least I hope you do. Of course, don't forget Silverstone is an airfield as well, so maybe it's channeling its inner aviation heritage here, the Vulcan Sim Racing car. But Mohamed Janko doing a great job. It would be very apt for him to finish in 7th with car 777, but I know that he doesn't want that at the moment. Well, Adam Watson is going to be watching in the background here as Carl Moore goes for it down the inside, side by side, just gets his nose down in there. And to be honest, I think that we're going to see the number 29 of Adam Watson try and follow his teammate through there. They stay side by side through the final part of the circuit. Just have a little look. Just managing to hold on though is Mohamed Janko. Great stuff. They're going to be side by side down the straight though. Looks like Adam Watson's going to get the run though. In towards Copse. The overlap is still there for him. Oh, he actually switches to the other side though, so there was no overlap. That's me. That's my dodgy eye doing wonders there. But through Copse they go. This battle is far from over, and there's still 8 minutes left of the race, Paul. I mean, we've been saying so far these ones have been going very, very quickly. But to be honest, this one has actually dragged itself out a bit and given us a lot more time to enjoy the entertainment.
Yeah, absolutely. As you probably saw that I'm still trying to fix the issues here on screen, but yeah, looking further down as well, Lewis Bibby and Tom Jacobs again, they are battling away down the hangar straight. No team orders between them, so as they head on down into Stowe, they've got Pete Harrod hanging around. Not been the best start to a title defence for Pete here, and he is having to work his way through. And that was Bibby getting ahead of Tom Jacobs then up into 17th. Further back as well, Stephen Burke is battling away with Simon Underhill as well.
Whoa. Nella just running a bit wide there as well, getting caught up in that This is one of those circuits, though, that when you do get caught up behind the cars in front, you do find yourself going wide and losing out, I'm afraid. But Steve Burke there in what I'm going to say is the very pretty Teamless Motorsport car, not that I painted it or anything. Just behind the Nomad sim racing car of Simon Underhill. Simon and Steve have had some great battles in the past over the course of the World GT Championship. Of course, this now spanning into its 8th season, and there's so many guys that come back each time and thoroughly enjoy themselves. It's very aggressive racing, and that's what we love to see. These drivers are very much under pressure every single corner, because one mistake can cost you big here. You don't have long to return back from a mistake and make up for it. But Josh Thompson still leading the way at the moment at the top of this one, 3.1 seconds over Michael Evdoka, and then his two Williams Esports teammates, Moreno Sirica and Alex Aranas. Wow, who was that running wide? I think that was Mike Gray. Mike Gray's had a few incidents this evening where he's run wide. It's side by side Nella and Burke through Maggots and Beckett. That is very, very lively through there, and he's actually going to get it done by the look of it. Steve Burke trying to defend as best he can, carries the speed round into the final part of the section. There's a bit of contact, they're rubbing wheels around there. That's unbelievably close. I wouldn't want to do that in the Ferraris then. A bit sensitive to contact. That's very aggressive from Steve Burke there to block Alex Nella. He's clearly not happy with the aggression. Mike Gray's having a laugh at it, and to be honest, Ben Palmer's trying to come through here as well. The McLaren spit in flames 2 by 2 as they go towards club here, Paul. This is not over yet.
Yeah, it certainly isn't. We're going to have to look forward very soon, though, because Evdoka...
Contact.
Big into the wall there.
Ben ran wide, and then the cars just sort of morphed through one another, I'm afraid.
Evdoka coming under serious pressure through the right-hander here. 5 minutes remaining. And it is Pure Sim OBP, should I say, ahead of the two Williams Esports drivers. He's going defensive early here. Round the right-hander at Copse. Evdoka still hanging on here for the time being.
I tell you what, that BMW looks so planted around there. It's incredibly stable. And these Williams Esports drivers know what they're doing with it as well. I mean, nothing on Michael Evdoka, though. He has wrestled that Ferrari GT3 and GTE around so many times. I've seen him take quite a lot of, a lot of amazing finishes and performances over the course of my time in the World GT Championship and his as well. As now Sirica tries it on the left-hand side into Stowe, carries it around the outside. White, black and blue, of course, the order of the day when it comes to liveries by the look of it. Evdoka, a huge fan of the white wheels as well. It's not to everyone's taste. I'm a huge fan. A lot of people do take the mick out of him and Pete Harrod for it as well. Pete Harrod loves the white wheels. He was wearing them last season as well on his McLaren. But those two Williams Esports cars looking very lively behind them. And I tell you what, he's closing even more and more now as they go through the left-hander. He's going to remain side by side as they go through towards bridge. That's very brave stuff. Into the right-hander, down the inside he goes and manages to make it stick. Beautiful stuff by Moreno Sirica, and now Evdoka instantly has to switch his attentions now to Alex Arana, who's going to be behind him, and Williams, he's got a bit of a slide there. Arana wants to make this a Williams 1-2-3 here, and to be honest, I think it could happen, Paul.
Certainly could. 3 minutes and a half remaining. Cam Dance is dropping down the order. He's had an incident at Priory, so something's happened to him. We'll get a replay up on screen for you. So we're going to focus Cam Dance, the Texense Fitstyle Motorsports car, and that's one of, I believe, is that Sheila's going to the inside. Well, he's run wide as Dance. And made contact with that Pure Sims car.
Nearly it's his teammate as well in the moment there. That was mighty close. I think that would have been Lewis Bibby that he just missed out on there as well. That was a real brown pants moment there for Lewis Bibby. But in the meantime, there you see it. Alex Arana has now made it a 1-2-3 for Williams. That's pretty crazy, to be honest. I mean, like I said before, they've not got the biggest reverse grid to try and make it up front. Apologies for the issues, by the way, everyone. It seems that it's at YouTube's end.
Yeah.
Everything, to me, seems completely fine here on the broadcast stream that I get from Paul as well. And we have, of course, well, I say we have, I'm sat here just talking while Paul is working away frantically as well, trying to sort things out, but it just seems like it's a YouTube server issue, so we do apologise for that, but we're doing everything we can. Apparently, if you do switch to 720p on YouTube, it is fine. And someone that doesn't want to switch to 720p because he wants to see everything in all of its glory right now is Mohamed Janko on the back of Ross McFarlane. He is very close to the back of him, and Ross, while he's made the move to get through, Mohamed is not letting him get away here, Paul, as the Audi tries to put the pressure on, but it looks like that at the moment Ross is now just going to open up that gap. We've seen how quick Ross is, and after a bit of a topsy-turvy race too, he'll be happy to be right back up there, won't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Is Janko then 9th place for Mohamed, going through in 9th place. Great race for him. Ross McFarlane 8th then. It was a bit of a recovery drive for Ross after race number 2. Jake Blackhall all over the back of Steve McCaffrey, and he's going to try and make this move into Maggots and Beckett. Not going to happen for the time being. Through the left here, then the right. Blackhall. The thing with this BMW, you'll have to try and get that slipstream, but McCaffrey is actually getting the benefit of a slipstream in front. Worth pointing out, your top amateur in your field is Max Bird, up to 25th. Blackhall contact with McCaffrey. Oh, that was, oh dear, that was all, unfortunately, too predictable, unfortunately.
Yeah, it looked like Jake moved slightly to the left there on the brakes. Whether it was that or McCaffrey moving over to the right, we'll have another look here and see what the gist of it is. But to me, I think Jake did move over to the left a little bit. He pulled out to the right to make the move, and he goes back over to the left. Let's have a look then. So he makes his move now out to the right. And to be fair, he's going in a bit. The car just straight lines on the brakes, I'm afraid. It's not Jake moving over or anything, but just as he gets onto the brakes hard there, the car just straight lines a bit. Maybe running a bit of ABS, which is the nature of these cars. The ABS does want to make it go in a straight line, and let me tell you, after driving a lot of GT3 cars in iRacing, I absolutely hate it. But we're on to the final lap now for a Williams 1-2-3 as it stands, Paul, and it's, well, like I said before, it'd be great to see Josh Thompson get a win and have all 3 drivers pick up a win apiece, and it looks like that's going to happen here.
Certainly is, as Josh Thompson then at the front, Marina Sarica 2nd, Alex Arana 3rd place. Still battling between Janko and Watson here through the S's. Janko not quite close enough to make any move. Matt Bunn pretty close with Lewis Bibby behind him. BMW versus Ferrari, 13th and 14th places. Down the straight then for the final time. And well, looking in, but great drive off of Chapel for Bunn to get through. And that's through, no problem. So he's going to be staying as he is. Everything's sort of just settling down. Nella and McAfee having to recover then is McAfee. But Nella trying to look to the inside, not going to happen here. Matt Bunn actually ahead of Ben Gregory, who's got Bibby alongside, squeezes him off. Oh, and Bibby's around into Gregory. But we'll have to look to the front then, because it is Josh Thompson who is going to win the 3rd race of the meeting here. Across the line for a Williams 1-2-3. Utter domination from the Williams eSports team. Rest of your field going through. Yeah, and well, Lewis Bibby is out. He had to park it. Ben Gregory ends up 24th. Wow, that was it was asking a bit much there, Chaz, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were still side by side, to be fair, and Ben held his line to the inside. From what I saw, there was a car off there as well just before the line. I'm not sure whether that was Ben struggling again with the damage there. He's not come through past the next sector.
Oh, here he is. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just making it back on, just rounding there quite aggressively, goes Adam McNally. So, yeah, didn't quite work out there for Ben Gregory. It looked to me like he did hold on. Oh, he's upside down. That's the underside of a Ferrari for you, everybody. That's far from ideal. Whether Ben's had another incident with another Pitstop car. Oh, then he's not making many friends with those guys this evening. And to be honest, bit of controversy here. He actually used to drive for that team as well. So let's have a look. Oh, Ben's just, I don't know, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other for me.
You're on corner exit there, 2 lines coming together.
I think that maybe McClay ran a little bit wider than normal, didn't leave Gregory all the room. Gregory turned in a little bit earlier than the car ahead of him as well. He's still chinning the grass up as well, so the groundsman will be very pleased. But another amazing race to round out our evening. More success there. Mike Horder, of course, winning the Pro-Am class, as you'll see on your screen there. Amazing drive from him. And, of course, great for Max Bird to get that AM win after what I said before was a very rough start to last season. It's great to see him get a good result like that.
So yeah, it's Williams Esports 1, 2, 3, Thompson, Sarika and Arana, Evdoka third, your top Pro-Am, Mike Horder then in 4th place, Carl Moore, Ross McFarlane, Adam Watson second place in the Pro-Ams with Mohamed Janko in 3rd place in the Pro-Ams, Jake Blackall in 10th place. Christian Rose, Matt Bunn, Pete Harrod all together with Tom Jacobs, Andy Shield. Not the best results for him, but he's been solid all the way through. Ethan Bass, Simon Underhill, Michael Gray, Stephen McAfee and Alex Nella rounding out the top 20. Max Bird then, as you mentioned, your top amateur in 21st. Great result that. Ahead of Steve Burke, Harold Stadler. Lars van Rijn is your 2nd placed amateur with Chris Wood, Simon Field, Matt Woodhouse all together there. Cam Dant falling down to 28th. Daniel Lee and Matthias van Delden in 30th. 31st for Adam McNally with Ben Gregory having those instants on the final few corners. 32nd. Dean Powell then the 3rd of your amateurs. Matt Draycott 34th. Adam Hedgecock, Gavin Baker, Tony Draper, James Whitehouse, Chris Byram, who started on pole position. Didn't go quite as well this race. Down in 39th with Kieran Chung, rounding out your 40th. Sean Gardner, John Roberts, Niall Crowther, Ranty down to 43rd. Then cars lap down. Lewis Bibby, George McClay, who ended up upside down, and Michael Blake. Then cars that did not finish, David Nichols, Morgan Butler, Ben Palmer did not finish that. Munoz with the spectacular incident. Nathan Dixon, Anwar Burrell Smith won't be proud of that one. Down in 52nd, Pete Newman and Bradley Burns. But that is the end of the action here. But stick around with us because we're very shortly going to go to the post-race show. So stick around, we'll be right back after these messages.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic, real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Well, there we go then. What an opening meeting of the World GT Championship that was. 3 races, all action-packed, all absolutely brilliant to watch. But there's been one team that has dominated the results here, and that is Williams Esports, winning all 3 races. And as you said, Chaz, before the start of that final race, it was all 3 drivers who got a race win there.
Yeah, it was a very dominant performance by Williams tonight, but to be honest, we knew they were going to be pretty much the quality of the field, and they really proved that they are, and that's why they're obviously one of the best esports teams in the world. But to be honest, I mean, people like Michael Evdoka wasn't too far off them. I mean, he was only 2 seconds off Alex Arana at the end of that race and really showed some good pace all the way through, which we've come to expect from him. And to be honest, I think the battles all the way up and down that really sort of halted the progress of some of the drivers. You know, these guys have been racing together for years. They all know how each other behave and what to expect from them, and that just showed today. It was a very mature race meeting, I think, and it certainly shows the respect and the sort of overall mutual agreement these drivers have. They want to race closely and they want to race cleanly, and it was a very, very good way to kick off the season. I'm really pleased for them.
Absolutely. Well, we'll discuss what's coming forward next week soon, but right now we are going to have a chat with race 3 winner then from this round, Josh Thompson. Josh, I mean, that was... You couldn't get 3 more different races for yourself, could you?
Yeah, I think I had a bit of everything tonight. Obviously, loads of race 1 to the highs of race 3. Just a very interesting meeting overall for me.
Yeah, well, that's it. You had the write-off that was race 1 then, with your technical issues that you were having. But then race through, having to start from the back of the field here, and having to work your way through, just meaning that you had to really fight to get yourself into a position to be able to get a good start for race 3.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, reverse grid, you can kind of go with like, oh, it might be a 20 reverse, but you can't guarantee that here. You always have to go for like the lowest number, just so you have a shot of a reverse, no matter what it is. After lap 2, I thought that wasn't going to happen. I got caught up in an incident in lap 2, which wasn't really ideal. Obviously, that's probably going to go in the steward's investigation after the race because it was a bit of a racing incident, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that race 2, I think that was one of the best drives I've done in the series ever. I just kept plugging and plugging away at everyone, and yeah, managed to get it done. Got the last 2 places on the last lap for that front second row.
Absolutely, but it has been a Williams domination here in the 3 races. All 3 drivers getting race wins here. Is that something that you expected as a team, or is that a little bit of a surprise for yourselves?
A little bit of a surprise, to be honest. I think people won't agree with that. But we think, well, we test all the cars and stuff like that. The BMW wasn't particularly the strongest here due to the track's nature. Obviously, you're going to see it through the season. I think we got kind of lucky that it held on a bit in the warm weather compared to the Ferrari. Like in race 3, Michael could keep up with me for the first 4 or 5 laps, but then once the BMW's tyres came up to temp and started getting into that optimal range, we could actually have a bit of a pace advantage. Well, I think we just put a lot of time in, and it showed and paid off, and the boys did a good job coming through the field, staying out of trouble.
And of course, next week is an endurance race. Of course, this team very experienced in the world of endurance. Is that something that you're feeling confident going into next week?
Yeah, it goes back to our natural habitat, should we say, for Moreno now, especially. Obviously, me doing this more. But it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a lot tougher there, as we've known in previous seasons and years, how strong the McLaren is around there for some reason. So I think you'll see Harrod and Palmer back at the front next week. So it'll be interesting, but we'll give it our all.
Well, thank you very much, Josh, for joining us here. Before you go, is there any obligations that you must get through?
Yeah, thank you for you guys for doing the broadcast this season. Everyone at Williams Esports for all the support. Obviously, I was a bit down after race 1, but without them, I wouldn't be here where I am now. And all the sponsors, so Chill Blast, Team Razor, BenQ, Playseat, Fanatec, One All Sports, HE.
Well, thank you very much, Josh, and all the best for next week.
Cheers, guys.
That's Josh Thompson, then race 1 winner. And now we're going to speak to another one of our drivers from that race. And it's the driver who had a solid race. Chaz, why don't you take it away with Carl Moore?
Carl, welcome to the booth, mate. A bit of a strong first race meeting for you guys. I mean, I know that last season you were in the Audi, but switching to the BMW, first off, how have you found that this season so far?
Practice was definitely interesting a couple of weeks ago. I know the rest of my team have all stuck with the Audi. Probably going to do them well later on in the season, but the Beamer just feels so strong at the moment. I definitely didn't expect the results I got tonight, that's for sure. But
well, I was going to say, to be fair, I mean, obviously you'll remember it, I imagine, that you and I had quite a lot of battles last season. We came across each other on track quite often when we were doing the sprint races over the course of an evening. You know, we'd occasionally trip over each other, but we'll glaze over that. But to be honest, it's good to see you up there, and of course your team as well, Paceworks Esports Cobalt, did a really good job. You guys always seem to be up there. Was there a sort of plan when you all came together, or did you just sort of think, oh, we'll just race amongst each other and see what we can do?
with the initial with Adam out qualifying me, it was kind of a case of, all right, let's see what happens under race pace. So it happened that the Audi started to fall off on racing, whereas the Beam just got stronger and stronger. Stephen being up there as well was great. It's just great to have the lads all up there. I know we only really formed at the beginning of the year, so
all right,
just getting stronger and stronger, which is good.
Yeah, definitely, and it's been great to see you guys develop. I mean, I've seen a couple of your guys racing in other leagues before, but to be honest, for the three of you as well to bring such a strong show into this series, you must be very happy to have done as well as you have done, I should say. But to be honest with you, I think that you've got a strong platform to go forward. We've got Sebring next week, of course, with the endurance race. How are you feeling about that circuit and that format?
Sebring should be good. I always prefer the endurance races. I think with the sprints, I get a little bit too worked up for the start, because we all know how some sprint races can go on lap one, turn one. But yeah, endurance races, I think, is where me and the guys all show our best. So really looking forward to next week.
Cracking stuff. Well, just before we let you go, Carl, do you want to give a quick shout out to anybody, mate?
Yeah, I'd like to obviously thank our sponsors for everything they do. Obviously, Craig's Setup Shop, Abruzzi, Immortal, iPitting, and Upshift. Been absolutely brilliant supporting us since the start of this year. I'd also like to thank the winner of Race 3. Josh been giving me some coaching. It really helped me improve over the last 12 months, and I'd recommend to anyone, if they can, to get coaching from Joshua if he's available to do so.
Smashing. Well, great to speak to you, Carl. Very well done on your results tonight, and we will see you next time round at Sebring.
Yep, see you then, guys.
Cheers.
That's Carl Moore then for the Paceworks Esports car. And now Chris Byram joins us. And Chris, I mean, this was a tale of 3 races. A really good solid result for you in race number 1 to be able to get yourself into that 24th. And then getting drawn on pole position twice. Just talk us through how you were going into those 2 race starts.
I was a little bit nervous, to be honest. A little bit of luck. You know what I mean? Everybody needs a little bit of luck. But no, I just thought, just try and get my head down and just crack on. To be fair, I was anticipating losing positions, but I just thought I'd just try and steer clear of any incidents, because that's how I sort of made all my sort of places up in race 1, was just trying to stay out of any crashes and just pick up the pieces, you know what I mean? So yeah, it was good. First time in a league on iRacing, and well chuffed with the first outing result. Just hope I can keep it up and keep this form going into the rest of the races. So yeah, excited.
And of course, it's an endurance race next week. Are you feeling positive about how that's going to go next time out at Sebring?
I've never raced around Sebring, so I need to get the track and put some practice in. So me and Gavin, my teammate, will get on straight onto it tomorrow. There's a few tracks that I'm just not familiar with, so I'm going to sort of try and get them and practice them a little bit as much as I can. But the majority of tracks I sort of know my way around a little bit, so looking forward to those too.
Well, P1 Racing then, Chris, who gets it done for you? Who would you like to thank?
I would like to thank all the P1 Racing boys, Aaron, Stephen Morrill. He's recovering from cancer and he's putting up such a strong fight. And Stewie as well. They're all great lads. So big shout out to the P1 Racing boys, and tune in next time. Thanks very much.
Well, thank you for joining us, and all the best for next week.
Thank you very much. Ta-da.
So that was Chris Byram then. And Chaz, you've got Daniel Lee, our final interview.
Daniel, welcome to the booth, mate. Good to see you. And first off, let me just say, I love the livery. Very well done tonight with your results. I know it didn't quite all go your way over the course of the evening, but looked like you got involved in some good battles out there. How did you find it overall?
Yeah, good evening, guys, and thanks for welcoming us to the championship. For sure, we've been excited for the first round. We're excited about the format. It's brilliant. Love sprint races, and the fact that we get 3 of them in one event is really good. But as you can see, it's pretty tough out there, pretty brutal. You can't get through the race without expecting to have some chunks of meat took out of you. And in race 1 and 2, that was what happened. Race 3 made 23 places up from the dead last spot on the grid practically. So it's merely a glimpse of what we could have put down if we'd have had better luck. So from the perspective of the mid-pack, it's really tough going. There's not a lot of space. Personal space does not exist out there, believe me.
Oh yeah, don't you worry. I've done 7 seasons of these lot, and I know exactly what you mean. When you can have a really good race and pick up a lot of positions, and then think, oh, we'll just go and do that again. But then you'll just stumble across one driver that just stops you in your tracks. But you still have a great battle from it. Of course, you mentioned that you love the sprint races. How are you feeling towards the endurance race next week at Sebring?
Sebring is one of my favourite tracks, and endurance formats are definitely my bag. Looking forward to that. I think we're going to get a better result from that, particularly if people keep their noses clean. Today was like the first day back at school, and everybody's trying to fight for the best seat in the room. By next week, we'd have all sort of calibrated ourselves. We're getting in the right mindset. We're a bit more familiar with who is who, especially as we are newcomers. We don't know who is respectful, who is going to be quite unforgiving. It's only going to get easier as the season draws on. So we've spent all of our bad luck on this event, and we just want to get into our stride and catch up, because we should be making better results than what we've shown here. And we just want to get decent places in the championship along the season.
Well, very well said, mate. And just before we let you go, because we do have to hurry along, I'm afraid, do you want to give a shout out to anybody before you go?
No problem. Just a shout out to H2M Engineering. Good lads, engineering shop based in Leicestershire, working hard. So thank you for the league and accepting us in, and see you next time.
Smashing. Very well said, Daniel. Thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Daniel Lee there. Sorry, go on.
Daniel Lee then with the interview there, and we're going to finish off here then, just quickly on the camera then. Final thoughts of this round then. I was impressed with the standard of driving out there today. Yeah, definitely. And can I just say as well, Daniel Lee, what a lovely bloke and what a voice. Get him signed up for commentary, because he composed himself really well for that. That was brilliant. But yeah, amazing race meeting to start the season. And to be honest, I mean, I must admit, I saw the calendar. I'm not a fan of the Silverstone historic track, but what a brilliant racing, what a brilliant set of races it gave us tonight. There was so much action, so much high speed. And of course, we're going to get one solid 1 hour 45 minute race next time round at Sebring. I hope going into the night, if I know these boys, they will do it. There is the format before you. So as you can see, for every 3 rounds that we have with a gap between, where we have a week's break, the Enduro round is the middle one of those. And to be honest, Paul, out of all the Enduro circuits we could go to, Sebring is one of the very best, isn't it? It's one of the finest endurance tracks in the world. But with that, we are going to have to leave you here. But before we do, just a few quick thank yous to say here on the broadcast. First of all, thank you very much to Istvan Balo at trackcams22.com for all the track cams that we had here on the broadcast. Thank you to Hugo Lewis behind the scenes as well at Race Spot. He has done a lot of work with us here on the graphics package, along with Arjuna Kankapati and also Tyler Maxon as well. So thank you to those guys for helping get these broadcasts up and running. Chaz Draycott, it's been a pleasure as always here on the commentary, and from myself, Paul Smith, it's a very good evening.
Sometimes I'd like to be alone in my own mind. I feel at home within these walls. I fear my own absence of association.